Hello, hello. Poor blimey. Poor blimey. I've done a right dipper. Getting ready here, just be a couple of seconds before we get started. I know I'm late. No need to beleaguer that point. I know I'm late. Don't fucking at me. I will not take cyberbullying. I will not. Give me a sec. Gotta get the rest of the stream going. But I think the title is pretty dead on. And if you agree or disagree, let me know in the chat. Feel free to voice your opinion either way. I like both pushback and agreements. So please feel free to levy that judgment. Do you believe that tips are necessary today in America? Stay tuned. Thank you, Hunter. I agree with you. They are nice dance moves. Thank you for noticing. Guys, also, we're trying to get up to 500 subbies. That is our big goal, our big overarching goal. The big guy, the big old frickin', the big juice, the big gipper, the big gipper, the big skipper, the big captain of the boat, the captain, the admiral. I don't even remember what I was saying, to be completely honest. I kind of got caught up in the big gipper and stuff, you know. I what can you do? What can you do? What can you do? The Hunter, I'm so glad that you have your own YouTube account. That is a noble venture. You know, it's certainly something that people should be doing with their time if they enjoy making content. And gosh darn it, most people enjoy making content, you know. Some people more than others. Some people more than others. What's your stance on tipping at the register where all the cashier did was scan your items? We'll get into that. I do have a stance, and I'll say it very quickly. I think that there are certain places where you should tip and certain places where you don't need to. But can if you'd like. That's a really oversimplified way of saying what I want to say. Thank you, Hunter, for subbing and liking. I will check your channel out, and if I like the content, I will sub and like as well. And not because you're asking, because that is a bit of a faux pas. but because you said hi. You know, saying hi first, that's a low bar, but thankfully you crossed it. All right, you crossed under it painlessly, and I gotta respect that. Few times have people said hi before begging for subs and likes in return, so I do appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's like, man, I'm trying to grow my own channel here, man. Who do you think I'm gonna reach? You know, whose influence do you think that, like, you know, if you post in the chat like, hey, would you like and sub and stuff like that, who do you think you're gonna reach through me? You can't ride my coattails. I need to ride other people's coattails. We're not there yet. All right, we're not to the point where I need to start begging for stuff. Soon, though. Soon, and for the rest of my life. Hopefully. As anyone who wants to make it doing YouTube, make a basic living doing YouTube wants. I'd be happy with that. Just a basic living, you know? Just being able to pay for my food. Just being able to pay for my food and my bills. You know, that kind of stuff. Thank you, Hunter. I appreciate it. If you like this, please feel free to actually go and watch one of the actual produced videos that I've made. Those are not getting any views these days, you know, which I understand. They're old. And a lot of that stuff doesn't really apply anymore. The sales one does. I'm so proud of that one. I need to make something way better. I need to redo that video, ideally with the same script, and then make the production value better, because it's a great video. It makes a lot of good points, and it has to do a lot with kind of what we're going to be talking about today. So today is a good day to talk about tipping, and god fucking damn it, I have definitely been privy to, more recently than any other time, I've been privy to sort of the shitty side of people when it comes to tipping. And I think, let's see, send me a link. No, I mean, you can, if you want, if you get the free time, please feel free to browse the channel for all that stuff. But I'm doing stuff right now, right? But so we're gonna first, I want to show you sort of the impetus of this, sort of the, please don't cuss, come on, man. I want to show you the impetus, sort of what the reason why we're even talking about this today. Let me make sure that I'm not signed in real quick. I don't know if I'm signed in or not. It's not end tipping, it is regular tipping. There we go. R tipping. Now, this sub, I want to view it as just a nobody. Just nobody here. We're nobodies. All right. Because I don't want my comments to influence anything. I don't want the way that I judge these things to be a reflection of how you're gonna feel about them. I don't want to inject any undue judgment on my part, because if we really could spend all day just looking at my comments and how much I'm insulting these people lately. Like, it's not because I don't like them. It's because I don't like the dis and misinformation that they spread. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at the hot category for the relatively new tipping subreddit. I almost said subculture, and then I almost said website. Do you like Pokemon? When I was your age, I did. Or at least as old as you're pretending to be. I don't think a 10-year-old should be on YouTube or have his own YouTube channel. But that's up to your parents to teach you. I don't think that's a good. I don't think it's a good place for kids to be. I don't think it's healthy for kids to be spending all their time on here. But I'm not your dad. All right, I ain't your dad. I ain't gonna try to tell you how to live. Y'all can figure that out on your own. I am acutely 10. Well, I'd hate for you to be obtuse in the matter. Sorry, I've begun tittering. But first I want to take a look at the information for the subreddit. God damn, I keep wanting to call it website. It's my brother's account. My dad's at work. Well, then I'm going to assume that you're brother and that you're lying to be pretend like you're a younger kid, which is weird, but that's okay. I mean, feel free if that's what you want to do. But that's a little strange. That's a little strange. Also, no kid would have understood that joke, so you've given yourself away. Sorry, Hunter. Sorry for you. That actually was targeted at you to make it very obvious that you were too young to understand that, but you got it. You got the joke, and a kid wouldn't get that. Sorry, Hunter. Cover blown. Cover blown. Boom, boom, boom. I don't know. I'm trying to make this a cool, like, BAM moment, but I don't have any, like, special effects that I can apply. BAM. Yeah, you can just imagine. Just fill the space. Fill the space with something. And I think you got it. So, tipping is different. Thanks, LRT. Pish! I didn't know that Argentina won. Thank you. Hunter appears to be the strange people I'm warning him about. Quite possibly. We don't know. Everyone's a girl on the internet, right? What is it? Guy in real life is the acronym. Girl on the internet. I'm a county kid. What? What is that? What? What county? Cork? Kerry? Burke? What is Birkenstock? What are the counties? What are the... I'm literally a 10-year-old. Well, then you shouldn't be on YouTube. And you certainly shouldn't be on my stream. I can tell you we're going to be talking about some adult themes here. We're going to be using some adult language, and there very well may be a euphemism at some point. So this is not for younger audiences. I mean, I'm already here. We're going to be doing something right now that is actually strictly for adults 21 and over. So, see what I mean? I even have to turn the face cam off for this. You see what I'm saying? Definitely not a kid-friendly stream. I'm, fuck, man. I ain't gonna tell you what to do. I'm barely an adult myself, you know? As you can plainly see. As you can... I mean, this is like, sums up my life right now. This is... Like, you can see. You got a good picture here. All right? This is what happens when you don't make good decisions in life. You get this. When you've made all the wrong decisions, when you've burned all the right bridges, when you've denied yourself every opportunity to become a well-respected human being, this is where you end up. This is where you're gonna end up, okay? Alright? Don't you do the things that I did to get here. Don't you follow in my footsteps. There's 2 pairs of footsteps. Did you know that? There's 2 sets. One of those is Jesus tap dancing Christ. Did you know that? Skippy, you don't have to wave at me. I see you. Do you believe in God? I believe that other people believe in God. I am myself an atheist, though. And if we're talking about the Christian God, then it's a very real possibility that he does not and never did exist. Suck that, Christians. Suck on it! And also the UFO and UAP stuff, you know, Christians don't like that. No, sir. I don't get why, though. Like, the Bible, you could just say, like, it has to apply to aliens now, too, because if everyone is made in God's image, then wouldn't that mean aliens, too? You know? I think it makes sense. I think it sounds very sensical. Wait, what does that mean? Well, a person who believes in God is a theist, and a person who doesn't believe in God is an atheist. You know, I still do not believe that you're actually 10, right? Like, I just don't. So, I'm humoring you. All right, so what is the tipping subreddit? Now, I don't know if you guys are Redditors yourselves, but Reddit is a place where the community gets together. By the community, I usually mean like sweaty neckbeards. Some normal people go on Reddit. I would say that a good portion of normal people go on Reddit. It's few and far between them, all right? Few and far between. And people who moderate Reddit are even worse. There was a sub that I was a frequenter of in my days on Reddit, and it's a sub called N-Tipping, and I would, for the most part, and I can show you guys that, but this is the sub I want to cover today, all right? When I was talking to people on N-Tipping, it was very clear that they were propagandists at the very least. People were taking these stances on tipping that are really just kind of like, you know, I shouldn't be compensating for the owner not paying you wages, which is just, it's an argument, not a good one, but it's an argument, and it's timeless. So this has been the argument since recently freed slaves had become members of the service industry. That's where all this started. Tipping started in like early 18 or 1900s. I don't remember which century it was, but it was at the beginning of the century, and it was a specifically European thing meant to indicate opulence, and it was meant to be a bid for service. Meaning, if you have like a shoe shine stand, and the guy next to you has a shoe shine stand, and there's like 3 customers, and the guy already has his customer, and the other guy's looking for who he wants to pick as his customer, and you say, you know, I'll give you an extra shiny little nickel in addition to that. And then they would say, okay, I'll go with you since you're offering me the extra nickel. Instead of bumping up a price, it was a bid for service. It was, I'll raise your price by 5 cents. That kind of thing. When it came over to America, it was instantly changed. So what happened in America right around the time that tipping culture made its way over here was the end of slavery. And recently freed slaves were now homeless, jobless, didn't have anywhere to go or anything to do, and so they had to make a living. They had to make things work somehow. And this is in addition to, I don't care if you leave, Hunter, bye! Jesus Christ. This is in addition to the rampant, racism and the rampant, there are people who are still coming into this country who are being discriminated against, like the Irish, like the Italians, people who are white, nowadays were extremely biased against in the old days. And so tipping made its way to America through opulence culture, through Gatsby parties, through steakhouses and things like that. And so someone, I don't know who, but somebody along the way decided, hey, this seems like a good idea. We'll, we don't want to pay our, the black people that are now working for us, or the Italians that are now working for us, or the Asians that are now working for us. We don't want to pay because we're racist. So what we're going to do is we're just going to offer them as low as possible, because there weren't labor standards back then. They didn't have laws that protected things like this. And so they were like, I'm going to give you the lowest possible wage that anyone can think of. And if the customers want to give you extra, they can. And that's how tipping got started in America. That's how tipping culture became the way that it is now. And fast forward to nowadays, we have something called tipping fatigue. And I'm sure that N-tippers are blissfully aware of this term. They know it exactly. They know it and hide behind it. And oh man, it's just tips have gotten out of hand. And that's kind of how they start the conversation, which is how tipping, r/tipping, that's how they started the conversation. The reason why we're not specifically talking about N-tipping, that sub, is because they started out as an anti-tipping subreddit specifically geared towards actually driving people away from the idea of tipping. Which, that says it all on its face. That says exactly what it means, and that's fine. I can respect that. I may go in there and antagonize, but that's these people are stating exactly what they're doing. Not so much so in tipping. Here's the description of tipping. Hunter, yes, you are the only one chatting. Thank you for pointing that out. I appreciate it. That makes me feel real good about my channel growth right now. Here's the description of the tipping subreddit. Welcome to r/tipping. This subreddit reflects the majority consensus within its active community about U.S. tipping traditions while encouraging diverse viewpoints and enhance discussions. If you perceive bias, it may reflect your personal views rather than the sub's consensus. Averting any pushback there, I see. Share your thoughts, whether you're a firm believer or a skeptic, and use flares to organize posts. Note, political posts or commentary are not allowed. Flag unacceptable content to help mods keep the community civil. Now, I'll let you in on a little secret. Pretty much, there are 2 golden rules. Okay, I've got 3 golden rules, but there are 2 that relate to this. The third one is, don't be a dick. Just in general. That's just a great goal to strive for as a human being. Don't be a dick. That's my one universal rule, and I have 2 others. The second is, everything is political. Everything is political. Whether you make a decision to grab a Coca-Cola from the shelf, or to put a coin in a homeless person's cup, or to donate 15 cents to the American Heart Association, all of those decisions are political. It's okay. You don't have to be scared of making decisions that are political in nature. And we don't have to observe minutia in that. We don't have to observe nuance or niche opinions, meaning we don't have to say like, okay, but if you buy sneakers from Nike, then you're supporting child labor off in Sri Lanka somewhere. Like, I get that. I understand that it's not like a one-to-one comparison. Believe me, I get it. But everything that you do is political in nature. It has some political, it's a result of something political, or it's in service of something political. It's totally fine. Don't balk at that. Embrace it. It's okay. We can be involved in politics. The number 2 golden rule that I have is everyone, and you may not want to hear this, you may not like this, but everyone's just a little bit gay. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if I am bursting your bubble on this, but that is just a universal truth. The spectrum starts at, it doesn't start at 0. It starts at like 0.0000000000000000000000001, but it's a spectrum. And it does not start at 0. So everybody's a little bit gay. Every decision you make is political, and don't be a dick. I think those are 3 good universal rules that everyone can follow, that everyone can get behind. You know, it works. It works for life. Okay. But so, if you're saying political posts or commentary aren't allowed in a fucking forum about tipping, kind of shows you exactly the level of knowledge that we're dealing with. It started out political. It was political. It always has been a political thing. The freeing of the slave, that's like arguing that the freeing of the slaves is not political. Like, what the fuck, dude? Well, Hunter, I would check again. She may be a man. And you may now be into men. I'm like, it's hyperbole, so this is why 10-year-olds should not be here. What's maximum gay? 10? I don't know how high the spectrum goes. I don't know what number value the maximum point of the spectrum is. Let's say 362. That's the maximum end of the gay spectrum is a value of 362. Don't know why, but let's just, that'll be it. We can make that the law now. So when we have like, there's a law that governs the spectrum, the sexuality spectrum, we'll make it so that 362 is the maximum number of gay you can be. All right? Firm rule. I think we got there. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Handshakes all around. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, gentlemen. We figured it out. Thank you. You're like a 10 out of 362 on the scale then. Bitch, if you have ever once said that you want to be the middle of, or was it the middle of someone's human centipede? Or on the end of someone's, whatever the fuck it was, then you're more than 10. Just saying. If you've ever said that, you're more than 10. You're more than 10. All right? Out of 362. That's a very small percentage. Okay? For some of the comments that I've seen you make. All right? Let's be real. Oh, speaking of, your Discord messages, I don't want to burst your bubble, but a lot of that time was spent sitting around in Orgrimmar trying to figure out what the new systems are and all this kind of shit. Like, I was refamiliarizing myself with the world of Warcraft. That was probably one of the funniest gags in that South Park episode where they kept saying, like, we've got to save the world of Warcraft. I love that. It's so good. All right, give me a second. We're going to load up this bowl, and then we are going to react to some to some of the most hot posts on r/tipping. I hope you guys are ready. I hope you guys are ready. It is a cesspool. I look like Sith the Sloth. What? Is that a thing? Is that like a character from something? Or is that a... Wait, is it inappropriate? Everything I do is inappropriate, Hunter. You're gonna want to stop asking those questions. I think Sid the Sloth. Is that a Ice Age? I think that's Ice Age. I'm pretty sure. That's where the that's where that weasel is. That weasel, he keeps looking for acorns in Ice Age. He's not good. He's not good at what he's doing. Yes, you should leave, Hunter. I already told you this stream is not for 10-year-olds. I already told you that. I tried many times. Yes, it's Ice Age. Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Now, anyone who is new to the stream might wonder why I'm about to turn off the phase cam. Let me explain. I smoketh of the Canibus. I consume it for medical purposes, but if you like doing it recreationally, then please feel free to join me. But until then, stay tuned. Say what's up. Hang out. Hang out for a bit. You know? Hang out. Speak amongst yourselves. If we have time today, I would love to teach y'all how to cast spells with your mind. That everything you heard was exactly what you heard, I promise. So we're possibly gonna learn how to cast spells with our mind today, okay? I know that you'll want to because one of the spells is gonna make us billions of dollars. I don't know if you guys know that. Billions of dollars. We're gonna be Elon Musk in no time. In like less than, I think the video is like 20 minutes long. In less than 20 minutes, because we're gonna speed it up. In less than 20 minutes, we're gonna learn how to be billionaires if we get there today. If we get there today. Yes, Hunter, I know there are perverts on here. There are plenty of them. Skippy's one of them. So just don't find yourself in a chat alone with him, and he won't make you feel uncomfortable. I'm kidding. Skippy's not like that. That's not even a good joke. I shouldn't make jokes like that. That's not. I would never want a joke like that made about me. So I'm sorry, Skippy. I didn't mean to do that. I don't mean to alienate us from each other. Alien. I was gonna try and make a joke about aliens, and then it fell flat. All right. Well, I'm gonna count it down here. 3, 2, 1. Cheers. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. Give me 1 second, and we will continue. All right. Short and sweet. This is the other stream. Yes, I have 2 of them. I actually have 3 of them. There's one going on Twitch as well. I've not figured out a way to make this work on YouTube for the separate streams to be one. I'm pretty sure that the vertical shows up on the shorts feed and the horizontal does not. Even when people like hold it on its side, like hold the phone on its side, like it still it shows you the vertical of the horizontal stream, which is not like I have a separate canvas for the actual vertical stream. And I usually have 0 viewers on the vertical stream, and then I have like somewhere between 3 and 5 viewers at a given time on the vertical stream. So I don't know why it's categorized different, but that seems to be how YouTube decides on things. I don't know. I think Twitch is now doing vertical streams as well, which is kind of cool. Alright, just cleaning this glass piece off and then we can resume. Alright. Hiya! And we're back. Had a little bit of coughing fit there. All right, so we were looking. Yeah, goddamn it, we were looking at hot community highlights. Welcome to tipping. Our moderators are here to blah blah blah. Remember this about. Okay, good. I was wondering if they were going to put any kind of like propaganda in there. Bad service and/or entitlement equals skip. Jesus fucking Christ, dude. The majority of screens flipped over with a quick question are before service is provided.
Does this situation sound familiar? You grab a coffee.
George Foster. And consistent with that explanation, the word for tip in many different languages translates to drink money, money for drink. So that's certainly a theory about where tipping came from.
Let's
do them for things they don't do. So these digital devices.
No, it's going to be, that's too a little long-winded for my purposes at the moment. All right, so this is definitely one that I saw this morning while I was on the commode. Don't know why I had to share that. Maybe you shouldn't. But we all know that that's when people do their best browsing. And I was on Reddit, and I looked at this particular post. So, I don't know if you know how this kind of stuff works. I mean, I think most people know what a bill is. I think most people know how to pay a bill. I think most people know that in restaurants, you know, it's all sort of itemized exactly like how you see here in the image. Yada yada, whatever. I don't think I need to explain any of that stuff. But a lot of the misconceptions that I saw in the post itself had to do with this little beauty here. We're looking at a service fee. Now, if you are unfamiliar with what a service fee is, that usually covers things like ATM transactions. Like you have to pay a fee for those. You have to basically, I think it's something like 86 cents. It used to be way cheaper, but as time goes on, it's going up and up and up. But I think it's like something like 80 cents a transaction, 80 to 86 cents a transaction. And you pay all that on the front end, I think. It's been a while. But it typically is paid for at a loss by the restaurant to then be recouped later on. But it is a fee that is the restaurant's fee to pay. That does not go into wages. And if you think about the overall bill of a restaurant, the overall what a restaurant has to pay for, they got rent, they got utilities, they got goods, like all the stuff that you buy, all the stuff that you're eating, everything like that. They have to buy all that stuff. They have to buy silverware, plates, yada yada, you name it, they gotta buy it. They gotta buy furniture, they gotta buy maintenance, they gotta buy equipment, they gotta do all the industrial stuff, they gotta get permits, they gotta maintain those permits, they gotta pay dues for whatever agencies they gotta be a part of, they gotta pay a monthly subscription fee for things like Grubhub and goddamn DoorDash and shit like that. They have to pay listing fees for advertisements that they take out in whatever newspapers, all this kind of stuff. They have a lot of stuff that they got to pay for. Another one of those things is wages. Now, a service fee covers things that are typically not anything to do with wages whatsoever at all. Like service fees are for maintenance costs. There's so many branching things that we need to cover. Holy shit. Okay. A service fee is a fee that a restaurant incurs. And on the tipping side of things, in modern day, people are upset, tipping fatigue. They're upset because they don't feel like they need to subsidize the wages that an owner should be paying their staff, which everyone agrees with. Everyone agrees with that. We all agree with that. Nobody should have to subsidize a staff member's wages. But here's the thing, you're not. A tip is an essential part of a staff member's wage, regardless of if you think it is or not. And it's really easy to see something that you don't recognize on a bill and say, well, that looks like an extra fee. And as a result of all of this hatred for tipping over the last, I would say, like 50 to 80 years, customers, moreover, more than anything else nowadays, they want transparency. They want, like, it's like, I don't mind paying a little extra. I just want to know that it's going to the right places, that it's used for the right things. First of all, you don't fucking own that business. Fuck off. You don't dictate what a business spend its money on, just like nobody dictates what you spend money on for your business. You don't get to do that. The law does that. Laws do that. Oversight and protections do that. Not the fucking customer. Your word is not canon. We tell you that you are king because that gives you an inflated a sense of self-assurance, and it allows you to pay more for things that don't cost nearly what they cost to you at fancy fucking restaurants. It's not fucking the Denny's server's fault. It is absolutely not that. It's unscrupulous owners who are responsible for whatever, like, these horror stories that you hear about, like entitlement and having to compensate for an unscrupulous owner. They should be paying a living wage in the first place. Every place that I've only owned a couple of places, but every place that I've ever owned, I've actually paid a living fucking wage. I go to Google and I'm like, what does it cost to live in insert metro area here? And I try to pay just above that. Fairly, like, I have to pay like as close to that as possible, so I would get it right up there. But I want my people to be able to only work this job. You know, I want my people to be able to want to come into work, to be motivated. And that's what tips were supposed to do in our society, you know, from the beginning of, like, labor protection acts, you know, from the beginning of, like, the Civil Rights Act, from all these things. We're striving for equity. We're trying to provide each other with a decent society to live in. And at the very bottom happens to be these places that serve you food. They nourish you. They keep you fucking alive when you can't be bothered to cook for yourself. And so these fees are permitting, they are utilities, they are plates, they are forks, all the stuff that does not account for an employee's wages, and then you tip. It's very, very, very simple. It's very simple. There is a method, there is an order to all this. Part of the social contract that we engage in every day that we step outside the door. We say that we're not going to murder people. We say that we're not going to kidnap anybody. They say we're not going to, like, go and rob a shop or anything. Yeah, some people break these social norms. Absolutely. But they deserve ridicule. In some cases, arrest. Right? They are pariahs of society. They are criminals because they break the law. Well, there's still fucking unspoken laws designated by the social contract that we all fucking agree to that include that you tip your fucking server. Because it is an essential part of their wages. It doesn't fucking matter if the tip credit exists. It doesn't fucking matter if businesses are technically allowed to pay lower than the local minimum wage or the federal minimum wage or whatever. It doesn't fucking matter if the tip credit exists in that state. Everybody deserves more. And if I am spending money to go out and eat, I have to account for that. I'm not going to be a whiny little baby and say like, nah, I don't want to engage in whatever the rest of society is doing. I don't want to engage with my peers just because I don't want to pay an extra $10 or $60 on a fucking $579 bill. If you're spending that much money going out to eat, you're doing fine. You're doing just fine. I could not afford this. This is more than a third of my rent. Just say it. just say it. I refuse to be misled. You are not being misled. A service fee is exactly what it says it is. So when all the hatred for tipping started, the goal was transparency. Customers, that's what they wanted. They want transparency. Like, I don't mind paying a little extra because I understand that people are on hard times and they need tips to live and stuff like that. I understand all that. I just wish that they were more transparent. I wish that they would fold it into the bill and not make me feel like there's an extra fee that they're tacking onto the receipt. I totally get that. 100%. Absolutely. But this is fucking that! This is that! That's what this is! And so then you have people bitching and moaning because they can't pay a service fee because they think it's a fucking tip. As it is here. I did end up giving 5% more to make it 20% tip in total. Bitch, it's not a fucking tip, dude. Service fee is not a fucking tip. It's not a fee for the service. It's a fee that facilitates you receiving service at all. It's already been paid by the restaurant. They are now working at a loss at that 15%. If every customer across the board, if they're good enough at projections, if every customer across the board for that entire pay period doesn't pay that 15%, the restaurant itself is out 15%. Then they may not be able to afford to pay their servers even the basic wage they agreed upon. All because of you people. All because of the shitty customers. Like it's a very clear through line here. It's a very fucking clear through line. I know they're not the first and not the only ones to do this, but presumably intentionally misleading customers like that is infuriating. Where did they mislead the customer? Where did they mislead the customer? Can anyone answer me? Chat. Where did they mislead the customer? Anywhere? Anywhere on there? Where's the deception? You have to assume that the service fee is a tip, which is definitionally wrong, in order to assume that there's any deception going on here. I mean, am I wrong? Somebody educate me. I'm open to any positive reinforcement that this may be like legit and totally sensical and oh yeah, absolutely, I would have done the same thing. But there's no deception here. It doesn't appear that they're misleading anybody. They literally doubled the tax for where's the tax? They literally doubled the tax. That's what 20% is. They doubled the tax right there. I mean, not like straight up doubled it, but pretty gosh darn doubled it. Where's the issue? There is no issue here. This is a basic fucking thing. And if you're already going out spending $517, you have that little extra to give. You should have just accounted for that. Fucking Porzy. And I actually did think it was AI. So here they are saying, lol at people thinking this receipt is fake. They give me too much credit, really. Didn't say it wasn't. He didn't say it wasn't. You fuckers, he didn't say it wasn't. It still could be. You give me too much credit, but yes, it is. Edit, they did have a sign saying large parties would be charged automatic gratuity, which I thought counted as tip. I guess I was wrong. Well, see, now that kind of is a red flag for corruption. They really should be charging you not a service fee, but a actual, like, a mandatory gratuity. And fuck, man, if they're explaining it to you why they do that, why the fuck would you think, A, that there's an extra tip needed? There isn't. If that is the tip, if they're explaining to you that that's the tip, that's all you need. Just because there's prompt on the bottom doesn't mean it's required for you to leave through the door. They're gonna, like, handcuff you and tell you can't walk out if you don't give an extra tip, first of all. But second of all, that, like, it could be corruption, it could be that the owner's taking it and pocketing it, it could be whatever. It could be outdated on the menu or on the sign or whatever. Best to just assume the worst, I guess? But now let's take a look at some of the best comments, or top comments. Let's take a look at the top comments. Xavier12 from 4 hours ago says, restaurants are starting to remind me of car dealerships. You finally get... Oh, what? WinZip? You finally get to the finance part of the transaction, and here comes the fees. Service charge, document fee, kitchen wellness fee, employee insurance fee, taxes, and we need at least 20% tip on top of all that because the poor servers are making less than minimum wage. First of all, fuck you. If I ever was to encounter somebody like you in any of my restaurants, I would ask you swiftly but boldly and curtly to leave. Please leave. Please leave my store. Please leave right now. Boldly, swiftly, and curtly. See? Please leave my store. I would prefer if you left my shop. I would prefer if you never show up again. Thank you. I do not like the look of your face or your behavior. Restaurants are starting to remind me of car dealerships. So, car dealerships are sales positions, and there is definitely some sales elements to a server, but really, the best servers just do their job. You educate yourself on the menu, you educate yourself on the standards of service, and that's about it. Then you maintain. And if you can maintain your tables, and if you can do a good job, then you're going to get tipped well. And that's the formula. But they aren't really responsible for generating sales, and a tip is not a commission. A commission is paid out by the employer, and they have to account for all the laws and guidelines that govern commissions, which I believe you're taxed at a higher rate. There's some other tax thing to do with commissions. It counts as bonuses, and tips do not. Tips count as gratuity. So yeah, they're not congruous. You finally get to the finance part of the transaction, and here comes the fees. Service charge. So, what the fuck, dude? Disable, fuck. What? I don't even like WinZip. Go fuck yourself. Service charge. Document fee. Don't know what the fuck a document fee is. If your restaurant is putting that on receipts, it is scamming you. Service charges, again, as I mentioned earlier, account for rent, they account for utilities, they account for supplies, they account for all the different things. It's usually ATM transaction fees that really, really like put pressure on restaurants to start charging extra. Anything that has to do with getting your money, that's usually like the thing that drives owners insane. It's like, oh, they're nickel and diming the fuck out of me. They're nickel and diming me to death. Joanna? I tried to make up a fictional wife's name. They're nickel and diming me to death, Joanna! Get the kids, we're going to fucking Cabo! Why would we go to Cabo? I don't really even like Cabo. I think if I was to go to one of the spring break Mexican coastal areas, I would probably be like Puerto Vallarta? Where do they have the Caldera drink? You know what? Not important. Sorry, I was getting lost. I was getting lost in the sauce here, talking about delicious, delicious cocktails. Man, now I really want one of those. Oh, they're so good. I have to look it up. I'm not gonna drop this until I can look it up. Hang on. Mexican beach town, big drink, Caldera. No, don't tell me the cities. I need to know the drinks. It's the name of a drink. Name of a drink. Oh, okay. Name of drink. Caldera, Puerto Vallarta. So I'm right, but they don't call it a Caldera. Come on. Where is it? Mexican cocktail. Beach town cocktail. It's served in like a stone or wooden thing. It's not called Caldera. Mother fudger. Yeah, I know it's a nickname. Oh my god. Sorry, I'll put this up on the main. On screen. No. 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 Oh, I'm never gonna find this, am I? Mexican beach, Mexican beach cocktail. It's cocktail time in the Riviera. Dames and gents are equally scantily clad in their bikinis and speedo onesie material hammocks. They lie on the beach side, bronzing their skins. I don't know where I'm going with that. Just kind of Robin Leached it. Miami Beach, big drink. No, Miami Beach, cocktail, big wooden drink. Name. It's not a fucking Paloma. It's not a fucking Paloma. God damn it. Paloma means bird. Jesus. It means bird. I wish I was a bird. You guys ever wish you were birds? I wish I was a bird. I grow tail feathers and waddle away. Okay. I think I saw the guy that I've seen in videos making it. No! Ah! We'll find this thing. I need to find this thing. I need to know what the cocktail is. I need to know it. Is it the this thing? Cantarito. We did it. That's the one I was thinking of. Cantarito. Cantaritos. I can't, or I don't tip. I don't believe in it. You don't believe in it? I mean, it exists whether you believe in it or not. What don't you believe in? What is the aspect of tipping that you don't particularly believe in? Cribbled and growl. Shoo-a-da-bop. Right? That's a way to sing, right? Those are some jazzy vocals right there. Warm, jazzy vocals. Warm, smooth, jazzy vocals. Am I right? Except for the vocal break there. Except for the cracking voice. I am still but a wee babe. Still but a wee babe. Nary a hair on my face. So yeah, I mean, it's really the owner in terms of this comment. Restaurants are starting to remind me of car dealerships. It's really the owner that is responsible for tacking on a lot of those things, and oftentimes if the place is corrupt, if the owner is a piece of shit, then it's entirely acceptable that they might be just tacking on fees to tack on fees. But a tip is still a tip. Tip is not part of service fees. Kitchen wellness fees are okay because they allow the owner to purchase benefits for their staff members if it's going to the right place. See, I think that's the second thing that I hear the most often when it comes to people who disagree with tipping in general, are people who say that they don't know where the money's going. And it sort of dovetails with transparency, but it isn't the same thing. I think they can fall into separate categories. I wore a hat like that when I was like 6 years old in the early 90s. Yeah, I'm about 6 myself. I'm about 6. I'll be 7 in September. So stay tuned for that. All right? Celebrate my birthday on here. Turn the big 7, you know? That'll be pretty cool, won't it? Yeah. Don't give me that. If she doesn't make enough money, she can quit. Well, not if she's in, let's say, an area where she doesn't have access to a car or public transit, or if she's in an area where her kids go to school, and that's like the only job that's available in that area, or if she has family issues, or if she has like, you know, things that are rooting her there, just like literally any other job. Jobs typically don't become a choice once you've worked there a while, right? Like, you kind of have to build rapport with your managers, you got to build a reputation, eventually try to move up at some point. And turnover rate at restaurants is really high, and advancement is really low too, so oftentimes those jobs aren't choices after a while. I don't tip because society says I have to. Ooh, so edgy of you. Oh, you're so like 13 years old. All right, if someone deserves a tip, if they really put it forth in effort. Nope, tips are pretty standard. I'll give them a little something extra. Nope, tips are standard. But this tipping automatically, it's for the birds. Right, nobody's asking you to tip for coffee or for a gas attendant or for any of those other things. It's really just restaurants and other things that you could do yourself that you're choosing not to. So like, I don't know. I would still tip a tattoo artist, but also like a barber you would tip, but you wouldn't tip like your mechanic. You know, like that's a specialized role that you can't take yourself. Tattoo artist, I would still tip, but I think that's more of a cultural thing than a service thing. I don't believe that every service position is supposed to get tipped, though I do believe that busboys and runners and cooks and chefs, maybe not chefs because they're on salary, but cooks, dishwashers, all that, they all should receive tips in equal proportion to servers. But everyone deserves a living wage. I think tips should be abolished in general. Bartenders, movers, landscapers. Yeah, you know what's really weird? I experienced a lot of pushback when I said that we tip movers. Like, do people not hire movers? Like, is that just a void in people's knowledge? Like, you tip movers. It's just so weird. Tips, cooks usually don't get tips, and I have been a lifelong advocate for them getting tips. I am not a fan of the system in general, but I'm not a fan of the system the way that it is with back of the house people, like in specific particularity. Because I was a cook for a long time, you know. And landscapers, I have never had a landscaper, so I don't know whether or not I've ever tipped them. I'm very sorry, the government taxes their tips, that's fucked up, it ain't my fault. Well, no, it's not your fault, but you are part of society, and we look to each other to take care of each other. Otherwise, shit like this falls apart, man. Look, if you ask me to sign something that says the government shouldn't do that, I'll sign it, put it to a vote, then you're probably a good person in general, and maybe you just have some misconceptions about tipping. Or maybe you think it's just going to the wrong places or something. But you shouldn't take a hard stance on it, you should just learn more about it, you know? Came out of racism, it came out of like exploitation and corruption and shit, and we codified it. Because people didn't know that stuff at the time. So, and then we just kept perpetuating it and perpetuating it and perpetuating it. But like, I know that stuff, and so that's why I'm in favor of it, because I know that the system is broken the way that it is, but we can do better. It just has to, we have to participate in the system until we do better. And voting with our wallet only serves to take food out of their mouths instead of sticking it to the owners, which we should be doing with legislation. I think any reasonable person can get behind that point of view. Everyone deserves a living wage, no matter your industry. Doesn't matter whether you're a teacher or a cook or a janitor, you deserve a living wage. Regardless of if that's, you know, like extra or like over what people would consider a living wage, but for like specialized positions like doctors or whatever, you know, but like everyone deserves a basic living wage. Everyone. Everyone. Servers should just do less work but get paid more typically just because they have to face customers. Customer service is a huge part of why the tipping system can be biased and unfair at times, because racism plays into things, sexism plays into things, even just like elitism, even just feeling like you're superior to someone because they're serving you can play into all that. Classism, ableism, all that shit. And I'm not saying that it is always that way, but it can. And when the customer dictates what you make, then, because that's not like that with any other job. You don't get to pay less at the mechanic because, well, mechanics negotiate prices all the time, so I guess that's not a good comparison. But like, if a grocery person, like, you know, accidentally breaks something when they hand it to you, they don't get their money taken away from them. Like, you would tip less, right? Like, or if someone at a fucking Subway like gave you bad service, like, you don't pay less for the sandwich, and you don't typically tip at a Subway. As for this non-college bullshit, what non-college bullshit? What do you mean? I got 2 words for that. No, it seems like you have a lot of words for that. Learn to fucking type. That's way more than 2 words. Because if you're expecting me to help out with the rent, you're in for a big fucking surprise. Well, no, when you go out to eat, you are participating in the whole ceremony and pomp and everything that goes with going to eat, and that includes tips. Sorry to break it to you. Do yourself a favor, YouTube. I don't tip, and watch the clip of Mr. Pink. I've seen Reservoir Dogs, you fucking moron. Jesus Christ. God damn, dude. That is the funny thing. Both stealerships and plate slingers have a very similar approach. Not salesmen. Nope. Not really. Typically, servers are people. Just like you and me. Isn't that weird? You apparently forgot about that scene. No, I didn't. I believe that Mr. Pink is an asshole, and that all the people in Reservoir Dogs are criminals and pieces of shit themselves. So the fact that you aspire to that is insane. But hey, you do you. Yeah, you haven't convinced me to tip at all. I don't give a shit. Have you tried shutting the fuck up? Or fucking off? I don't give a shit. I'm not trying to convince you. You can go suck your own dick for all I care. That's the funny thing. Both stealerships and plate slingers have a very similar approach. Both exploit the insecurities, fear of conflict, and anxiety over being judged or seen as cheap or broke to get suckers to empty their pockets. Oh my god. So it's really, really like a Christian persecution complex sort of thing. You see eyes on you because you're doing something that is shameful. You're deciding to take money out of a person's mouth or wallet. And so the shame that you feel, you're then projecting onto other people. There's really no way to tell that a person didn't tip on something unless the server themselves like looks at the thing. And yeah, I mean, they got to input it sometimes, but typically they would leave that in like a lockbox for managers or something. Like, there's not really a whole lot of way. And it's not that they can't tell, it's that they typically don't care. Like, they know that either you're not going to be man enough to go in and like mouth off about it, so they don't give a shit. And it typically, in more fancy situations, the server's already going to make more than their nut anyway, so it doesn't really freaking matter. But I mean, in general, they don't care about you. They don't give a shit about you. Nobody gives a shit about you. Likely, if you're the type of person that doesn't tip, your family hates you too. Your loved ones probably hate you. Everyone at work probably hates you because you're that guy. You're that guy. And, you know, that sucks for you. But servers don't give a shit. And, you know, maybe they'll make enough. Maybe they won't. But there are infinitely more good customers than there are rude customers. So whether or not you made your fucking stance, they'll forget about you the second you leave the door. Sorry you're so unimportant. Oh, you're so mature, Cat Down the Road. You had to retract your message. Yeah, nice edit. Yeah, good. Because then you're not having to endure the shame of trying to bully a complete stranger with text. You absolute potato. I think it's to the point where you have to consider not playing versus taking your ball home. See, it's. If you're a whiny child, you take your ball home. I'm leaving. The upside for playing the game is not worth it anymore. What do you lose besides money? You know, I don't get it. You're an atheist. Oh, well, yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I have a belief that, I don't have a belief that you do. I am like many other millions of human beings, and I deserve the same consideration that you do. But I don't know what me not being religious has to do with any of this. This is about tipping. If you have a point about tipping, then, I mean, I can just try to ignore that, but I'm not... What does religion have to do with it? It's weird, man. It's real weird. You're a very strange bird. USA Caliph. I've finally decided I'm not tipping and I'm using the drive-thru. Or if I'm using the drive-thru, literally no extra service has been provided. It's bare minimum. Now, I'm gonna blow y'all's minds. I don't think we should tip at coffee houses. Now, I will be the first to agree. A fucking shit stick! God damn it! Thank you for the follow. I didn't think that fucking bitch shit! God damn it! Thank you for the... I think that was another follow, but goddamn, I'm shaking. That scared the shit out of me. Woo! Oh, I'm awake now. Oh, that's like a friggin' shot of espresso right there. God damn. That noise is still way too loud. I thought I disabled it. Oh my god. It made me choke on my spit. Thank you for the follow. I think that was a follow. I don't know why it's not registering on my alerts, but thank you. Oh my god. I gotta turn that thing off. Anywho. Oh my god. I'm still shaking. Let's see. Tipping isn't mandatory by law. Yes. Oh my god. Holy shit, guys. Holy shit. Did you hear that? Oh my god, the cat down the road. Oh, I was so blind. I didn't even realize. I didn't know. I didn't know that it wasn't required by law. Holy shit. Oh, and then, oh my god. Oh, and then you say, you don't have to tip. Oh, the cat's down the road. I'm so glad that you're so insightful. Oh, fucking shit, man. Come on. You sad son of a bitch. You sad son of a bitch. Didn't you hear me when I was talking about how these people, their family doesn't like them, and people usually don't like them because they're that guy? and you didn't pick up that maybe I was like referring to like maybe someone specific here, maybe someone in chat, maybe perhaps, maybe, possibly. You think? I got an awful attitude after not leaving a $1 tip at my local Starbucks. Reasonable. I would not be very nice about someone if they was to confront me about a $1 tip. I would be like, okay, I don't really like that. I'm not cool with that. You don't need to be giving me shame about giving you $1 at a coffee house, because I don't believe we should be tipping at coffee houses. I know. I'm going to justify it. I'm going to try and justify it, okay? I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I know it's a service position. I know that people there are underpaid and overworked. I know. But I'm going to make a case. I'm going to make a case for myself, okay? The majority of restaurants are owned by mom and pop still. I know that that's getting like to be a smaller ratio as time goes on, because we have more and more corporations who are buying more and more smaller places, who are turning more and more things into chains. I get it. But right now, in terms of full service dine-in restaurants, the majority of businesses is still owned by smaller business. And I say that because there's parent corporations everywhere, yada yada. All my previous points. Where else are you streaming? Twitch. But that's about it. It's YouTube and Twitch. I don't really like Kick or any of those other ones. Rumble, I think, is another one. And in terms of coffee houses, that's a close ratio as well. It's a close ratio, but it's on the other side. The majority of coffee houses, Starbucks specifically, are owned by larger corporations. And what that means for the average employee of both places, restaurants, you typically work shorter shifts. Part-time is way more pervasive. It's almost the same as coffee houses, but also it's more service intensive. Like there's actual like hands-on service, whereas you are just mostly pulling espresso shots and making coffee drinks. But you do like janitorial services here, and you don't necessarily do janitorial services here. The biggest difference between the two is that one typically offers benefits, typically has adjustable days off, daytime shifts, a lot of different like sort of unspoken or like invisible perks that restaurants don't have. Restaurants, they tend to pay a little bit higher, like servers tend to make a little bit more. So it's a bit of an offset. Tipping hasn't been as traditionally present at coffee houses as it has in restaurants, not in the same magnitude. You would toss a couple of cents into the bucket when you pay with cash for a coffee. Like you would say, oh, I'll throw a quarter in there or whatever, So them asking for 20% is not necessarily like traditionally good, but in practice, both industries, and they're very close, they're both within the service industry, but both sort of sectors deserve a living wage. So I'm in favor for any extra money that they can get, but I don't think that we need to be paying them like, handfuls of money, or I probably wouldn't hit 20% of my bill if someone like flipped around a screen at a Starbucks for me. Like I would maybe do like, I don't know, 5% or something like that. But I don't agree with it as much for coffee houses as I do for restaurants. But I think I make a good case. Typically corporate outfits, typically, I would say younger demographics probably, but I guess maybe that doesn't have anything to do with what everyone, regardless of age, deserves the same standards of wages. So I'm trying to reason myself out of that. Where are you reading all of these comments from then? So I have the vertical, I then have the horizontal, and then I have Twitch. So I have 3 chats that I'm reading. Although I thought the YouTube combined itself, but I guess not. Que sera? I agree with you 100%, and that's very rare. Well, thank you, Patrick. You just mean you don't agree with anyone 100%, or you don't agree with me 100% typically? Okay. So yeah, I probably wouldn't have been happy if someone chased after me for a $1 tip. But that's not the majority of places, and it's not representative of an entire industry. Undercooked food, chuddy drink? Chuddy? Chuddy. What does chuddy mean? Asked for a straw, was met with attitude, and was reluctantly given a straw. There was given no napkins with my food under toasted food. Asked for those too. Got completely ignored. After full acknowledgement of the napkin request, the girl making drinks noticed me still waiting for napkins while the cashier ignored me, and I had to remind her I was waiting, and then received a crumpled wad of napkins and a slammed window. Immature and annoying to have to deal with this. I mean, that's fine. Like, okay. So you had a shitty experience. I probably would have tipped less, or nothing in that case. Probably not nothing. I don't think I would ever tip nothing. Cannibalistic humanoid underground dweller. No, I know what a chud is, but I don't know why. Why would that adjective fit a drink? Does that is that a thing, or? Your enough about the tips. Well, you don't dictate what I get to do on my stream, that's for damn sure. Your rant about tips makes me want to tip even less, and I don't even tip. Well, I would hope it makes you want to go to restaurants even less. I'm sure they want to see you, you know, just as much as I would, which is nowhere near my business. You know what I mean? Know what I mean, Jelly Bean? Went ahead and called the corporate number. You had a bad experience. You had one bad experience. And you called the corporate number? Just so you know, bitch, most Starbucks are franchises that are not governed by the corporate office. Oh my god, when boomers do that shit, I guess I laugh, but I also really cringe. Like, why are you saying I'm telling on you? All right, I'm telling on you. It's like when people fucking like say that they're gonna call the cops. Like, what? We're having an argument. Why are you going to call the cops? Like, what's the point? Yes, I'm going to go to a restaurant today just because of your rant and make a huge order just to not leave a tip in homage to you. I'll even leave your YouTube name on the receipt. And I doubt they'll give two single shits and will forget about your face the second you leave the room, just like your fucking wife does. And your kids. Because nobody deserves this sort of treatment. Yes, you're right. You're right. Nobody deserves to have a customer service person being rude or dismissive to them. Nobody deserves that. Absolutely. 100%. Went back a few weeks later and was politely asked to select no tip while paying. Seems like they are not taking tips through drive-thru at all now. I hope... so this is an end everyone clapped situation here, okay? I hope the cashier barista realizes how her poor attitude reflects on the company, and now everyone working has to skip out on tips because of her attitude. And they don't give a shit. Now, with all that said, right, I'm not racist, but I can understand tipping your waiter at a restaurant. See, we agree on that. We agree. Or tipping the barista when you go inside to sit down and eat/drink your drink. Absolutely. We agree. 100%. We agree on that. I agree with everything that you said here. I don't think that it should be used as a crutch to prop up the idea of anti-tipping culture. But I agree with everything. I agree with all the stuff that you said. It was a terrible experience. I would have been unhappy. I probably would have tipped less. Or if I was pissed off, I definitely wouldn't have tipped. But you get what I'm saying. And they can differentiate. They say, I understand tipping at a restaurant, or when you're going in to sit down and eat and drink a drink. I totally get that. Awesome. 100%. Totally in agreement. However, I will not give a tip through drive-thru. Totally. Absolutely. You're not supposed to be tipping fast food workers. You're not supposed to be tipping people through drive-thru. It's not typical. It's not something that you, in general, will do. Especially at a place like Starbucks. True. Where they generally make more than minimum wage and have benefits. Absolutely. See? This is great. I just don't think it should be used as propaganda. It's quite the reminder that tips are not right. They are not a right. They are a privilege. Here's where you lost me. Call me Goose. Then they associate the not tipping with your YouTube name, especially if I do it often enough. They won't give a shit. They won't give a shit. My wife knows I don't tip. Nuh-uh, my wife likes me. I teach my kids the same thing. Then your kids are going to grow up to be pieces of shit just like you. She's happy because it saves us money. Yeah, I'm sure she loves the looks you get when you don't tip. I'm sure she loves it. Just like, you know, I'm sure she comes every time you visit the park and ask her to come over to you. She doesn't give a shit about the tipping nonsense as much as I don't. Well, then she's equally a piece of shit. Your whole family's shitty. You and your whole family go fuck themselves. I would love for that. I would love for you to just go and fuck yourselves. I don't care if you don't tip, dude. Go, don't tip. That's fine. Spread my fucking YouTube name all over the place. You're literally doing marketing for me. I mean, do it. I mean, no, please, don't do it. Oh, dear God, please, don't spread my name, please. Please don't spread my name, please. Don't put my name all over 1,000 business cards and hand them out to random people, please. Please don't do it, please, anything but that. Anything but that. I can't do it. I can't do it if you do that. Please don't print my name on like 1,000 business cards and then just hand them out to people and say subscribe on my YouTube. Please don't do it, please. I beg you. You're shitty, or calling people you don't know shitty and telling people to go fuck themselves. Yes, I am, and yes, you should. If you don't care that we don't tip, then why call people shitty and tell them to go fuck yourselves for not tipping? Because it's fun? Because you're a shitty person and it's fun to tell you to go fuck yourself? I mean, I don't get a chance. I usually surround myself with decent people, so it's not often that I get the chance to go tell a person to go fuck themselves. You know what I mean? Like, I don't get a chance to, like, to ever, like, you know, just express myself that way, you know? So it's nice. It's nice to be able to do that. It's a little therapeutic, you know? You gotta have a balance of experiences in life, you know? You gotta take the bad with the good, and then you have the facts of life, you know? That's just how things are. CS normies can't see these troll comments. You just gotta go over to the other stream. I don't know how you would navigate over there. Hey, Helmet, what's up? Stumbling in on you telling someone off. Well, I mean, he's sticking around, so it's mostly just talking shit at this point. He hasn't been told off. He's been told. I guess the gargoyle on your t-shirt isn't just for show, it represents your character. No, it's a self-portrait. It's a self-portrait. This is... You don't see the resemblance? And I love that you think that that was an insult. I love that you think that that was any kind of insult. I feel so bad for your wife, man. Oh, man. Oh, fuck. Woo! I mean, because you have to, like, cross-section, you know, the things that you've said with the type of person that you'd associate with an anti-tipper. And it's just like, oh, man. That cross-section. Oof. Well, at least I have a wife. Okay. I mean, sure. Yeah. At least you have a wife. Yeah, you certainly have a wife, man. So the idea here is that even if your relationship with your wife is on rocky ground and you fail to satisfy her at any point in your relationship, that it's still better than being a bachelor who gets to choose to sleep with whoever he wants. Okay. Interesting perspective. I'm into it. I'm into it. I don't know where to go from there, but you led us down a interesting path. Oh my god, my eyes are watering. That is hilarious. Oh my god. It's a chef's kiss moment. I didn't think that I would ever get one of those. You don't get to choose to sleep with whoever you want. You're right. I'm a troglodyte. Remember, this is how I look. This is what I look like. Would you sleep with that? Come on, cat down the road. Would you sleep with that? Would you sleep with me? Would you sleep with me? Would you sleep with me? Please, would you sleep with me? Would you sleep with me? Cat, you want to have sex? Do you want to do it? You want to just throw all this out the window, forget about the tipping nonsense, and just have at it? You want to have a leg over? As they'd say across the pond? We can solve this. We can solve this together if we just unite our bodies in a hot, sweaty, passionate embrace and close the divide between our philosophies as we close the space between our writhing torsos. We'll intertwine our phalluses like the noble snail. Offers on the table, dog. Or cat. Offers on the table, cat. No, I would never sleep with you. Ah. Okay, then what guy would you sleep with? Which guys would you like to have sex with? Cat down the road. I'm willing to pause this entire stream. We won't talk about tipping at all if you list the top 5 men that you would absolutely fuck right now. If they were to come to you and say like, ooh, cat down the road, I love the fact that you're willing to take money out of starving children's mouths. Oh my God. The fact that you are just such poison to your wife and that she would do anything other than touch your sad, filthy pingle. Oh, I love that. It turns me on so much. I need it right here, right now. I'm guessing Chris Evans is on that list. He's on my list. Although I don't know if I'd want to sleep with him. He said all that stuff to me just then, because that's not true for me. It's true for you, but it's not true for me. So I would have to wonder where all that's coming from. I'd be like, are you mistaking me for somebody else? But Chris Evans, oh, absolutely, hit, hands down, off like a light switch, done. Pants are off. Whoop, whoop. That's my pants. Whoop. I'm wearing breakaway pants for my meeting with Chris Evans in this particular scenario. Whoop. That's it. I mean, they'd probably be Velcro. Right? Let's not lie, everybody. I'm gonna have to just assume that you all agree with me, because I will not accept any other answer. Chris Evans is on the list. All right, who else? Who else, cat down the road? Who else is on the list? Come on. I know you want to fuck a guy. Fudge a guy. Fuck a guy. Sorry, I'm trying to keep the language clean. Which one? Ray J? You want to play the part of Kim? What? Who would you sleep with? Cat down the road. Come on, man. Come on. We got dead air here. We got dead air. Come on, this is your chance to become a celebrity. Which famous men do you want to have sex with? Cat down the road? God damn it! Answer me! Answer me! Which famous men do you want to have sex with? Which quivering pile of man flesh would you lie with? Tell me now! Hang on, I gotta switch the music real quick. That means that I can't see the chat for a second. And I think I found something to listen to. Oh, 4 hours, hell yeah. Hell yeah! You're typing who you would have sex with and it's somehow getting filtered? Gee golly gosh, one could assume that you're trying to type slurs into chat or something. A young lad at my work called it quits via his own hand this weekend. It messes with your mind when children half your age are deleting. Dude, come on, Skippy, man. I'm sorry that happened to you. That sucks. That's definitely not a good thing. I have been all too present and involved in too many dramas that ended in too many situations similar to that, and even one is too much. And even as an accessory, even as, you know, somebody who's 3 degrees removed, it is still not cool to hear. So that sucks. I'm sorry about that. I hope that you are doing well mentally. I hope that you're able to move through it and process in a healthy way. And I'm sorry that you're having to go through that. I hope that it is quick and mildly pain-free. But yeah. Sorry, man. Hey, cat down the road. Can you just put names? Just put the names of the men that you would sleep with. Now, I guess that your reply could be one of two things. It could be that you're posting Deuteronomy, which I don't think would get you flagged by YouTube filters, but also could be slurs. So if it's anything that's like, you know, slurs or like homophobic or like I assume you are, I think fairly, because remember, you know, anti-tippers are a certain kind of people. They fall into some very specific categories, and homophobia is one of those. So I wouldn't put it past you. But if you could just type the names of a couple of the men that are famous that you would absolutely plow if given the opportunity, then I think the answers would be respected, you know? Let me guess. Clint Eastwood, James Woods, and Kevin Sorbo. Good guesses? Because they share all of your other traits. Now with all that said, okay, yeah, we finished with this. I said I'd probably get into an apophylation. Apophylation. What does that mean? How do you typically I talk his own partner. During or after. So wait, so you're saying that, and then Alessandro Nivola? Nivola. Oh man, that's a handsome man. What's he been in? Face Off? I don't recognize his role in Face Off. You guys know this guy? Why him though? Like what's his what's the, like, is it just the square jaw? Or is it like cuz he's got like a almost, he's got like a smiley mouth? You know? I don't know. But is that, but I think the thing that I read said that it's when they, like, one of them bites off the other one. Biological process in which an animal, typically a hermaphroditic slug, bites off its own or its partner's, I think you can say penis on YouTube, as long as it's for educational purposes. Usually during or after mating. Why does one of you have to lose it though? Is that your kink? Is that like what you're into? Is that your vibe? And would you be the losee, or would he lose it? And who gets it? Like, does he get to take it home after it's gone, or do you keep it like in a jar or something? You know? There are things to consider to this dynamic. Is this really what you'd rather talk about over tipping? Is this really what, is this the subject that you want to go into? Well, clearly I'd keep it. Not clearly. Clearly, how's that clear to me? I don't know shit all about you. You could be trolling for all I know. I have no idea who you are or what your motives are. How would I know that you'd keep it? You're both men. One would presume that it's like kind of up in the air. And would it be during or after? There's two options here. How is Chris Evans not on your list? I'm sorry. I am so sorry. I can't rationalize this. I can't rationalize. How is Chris Evans not immediately number one on your list? That's America's ass. I'm not into Chris Evans. He's too feminine for me. What? Feminine? He's Captain fucking America! What? What? How? So, okay, wow. Chris Hemsworth? Is he too feminine or masculine? Is he masculine or feminine to you? Okay, Special Border 1472, let's take a look at what you said on the tipping fucking sub. 1, restaurants need to pay their workers decent wages. I agree with that, 100%. I think that is... best way to say that. Absolutely, 100%. Bam! Everyone deserves a living wage. And do not expect customers to compensate for your bad behavior. Oh my god, dude. What bad behavior? Why are you just presuming that there's bad behavior present? Like, let's assume that all is fair here, right? You walk into a restaurant, are you just going to assume that the server's out to get you? You just assume that, like, I don't know, that some kind of corruption or something's going on? Like, you don't just assume that you're, like, that's not even, that's not never in my mind. I'm just like, hey, how's it going? Yep, I'll sit right here. Absolutely, yeah. Oh, hey, can I get this kind of cocktail? Yeah, absolutely, thank you. Okay, great. And then I'm like, all right, I pay, I leave whatever tip, and then I leave. Like, I don't engage in any of this, like, planning and strategizing and things like that, like, trying to determine the motive of the people who I'm going to be seeing when I'm out eating before I go out to eat. Nor am I doing an assessment of their behavior, like, away from me or in any way indirect to me, like, at any point. I don't, it's not present in my mind. Chris Hemsworth is too pretty boy, so feminine. What? I don't think you know what feminine is. I'm more into rugged looking guys like Manuel Ferreira. Well, I mean, I think you might just have like a particular type. I don't think that makes either of those two men feminine. What was it? Ferreira. Manuel Ferreira. Okay, well, all that comes up is like sex photos. And I don't want to put those on the screen, so I can't see him. Oh, no, I see. Here's his headshot. Okay. Okay. Yeah, I guess kind of. Yeah, he's rugged. I mean, you just like guys with beards. Is that why you came on here? Because you thought I looked sexy? If it wasn't for my stance on tipping, perhaps in another life, huh? If our wives weren't in the picture, Although I'd have to know if you're more of a bottom or a top. You know, I don't know which I fall into in life, but I think I'd consider myself a switch in philosophy. You know, in making pizza, I consider myself a top. But in eating pasta, I'm definitely a bottom. But a power bottom. That's just life, man. That's just life. No, your beard looks more like Halfway House. Yeah, it's a little patchy. It's a little patchy. A little patchy. You look sort of like a chubby Terrence McKenna. I'll take that as a compliment. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. So I am sexy. I'll take that. I'll take that, man. Thank you. Thanks. You boosted my confidence. I appreciate it. Do not ask customers to pay 18, 25, 30%. It's always been 10 to 20. Anyone who, like, yes, restaurants will absolutely take any opportunity that they can to try and get as much money as possible, but it's not the standard. The standard's 10 to 20%. You can just take that to the restaurant that's trying to charge you 18% and leave no tip then. That's fine. If you disagree with it being completely like a gouge, then yeah, fine. More power to you. I would still try to pay the lowest amount, and if I can enter a custom amount, I will. Very lowest I'll pay is like 5%, but my averages always run from 10 to 20. And I usually just double the tax, man. Just double the tax. It depends, like the state tax is a good metric to run when you're trying to figure out how to compensate someone for whatever the cost of living is. Taxes. It's a good metric. They've been pretty consistent. They usually hover somewhere around 14% in some states. Other states, you know, different tax stuff. Like Oregon, they don't do sales tax. But you know what I'm saying? Like, then there's a little bit of head calculation coming into it, but it's really easy to just double tax. Really, really. I sounded like a horse just then. I really think you're in need of a shamanic colonic. So you are into me. Are you trying to perform it yourself? Because strap yourself in. I have an exceptionally wide anus. Is that hot? What do people find wide anuses? Would a wide or narrow anus be like more sexy? That's 600 milligrams of DMT. Oh, now you're speaking my fucking language. Melted into butter and funneled into the anal pore. Oh, what makes you think I haven't tried? Have you seen my outfit? Look at me! And tell me you don't think that I've done drugs. What on earth? You said my beard screamed halfway house. It's because it's not in yet, alright, fucker? I'm trying to let it grow because I want to see how many white hairs I have. I got quite a few so far. We're getting there. Actually, you can't even really see it in this light. I think nope, still can't really. Okay. I got a lot of white hairs. I am turning into quite the salt and pepper gentleman. I believe that we're called zaddies in the common tongue. So feel free to refer to me as a zaddy from now on. All right. Add your so-called tip onto the menu and let the customer decide if they want to come in. Well, it's a variable percentage, and the customer usually is the one who decides what it is, so there wouldn't be a reason to that. But I guess that's an option? I guess? I don't know. I feel like it's not something that you can just have like a fixed percentage that you factor onto the menu. Like you just put it like, hey, tip is 20%. Because I mean, people like the option to have it be variable because they want to be able to judge people based on their service and their behavior and stuff. So it would go kind of like opposite to what it seems like you all want. I think now I don't know if they're arguing this, but a point can be made, and I've heard this point being made very often, that it's extra money. And why not just fold all that money into the menu prices and then don't charge any kind of tip? Like just say that's a no tipping establishment, which is great on paper. It's absolutely, great solution on paper. I agree with it 100%. Problem is in practice is that it doesn't work. And this has been tried like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times across all different metropolitan centers across the US. And it just does not work. Because if a place charges an extra $1 for their burger to compensate for however much, you would be paying in tips, then the place down the street, they don't have to charge that extra burger because they don't have to charge that extra $1 for the burger because they take tips. So their prices remain low on the menu, and people who don't care about your agenda are going to go there because they prefer the cheaper burger. And they're still going to tip like either 0 or 5% up all the way up to 20, depending on what the customer's like. It's just, it's not congruous, I guess, if that's the right term to use. I'm not sure if that's the right term to use in this particular context, but the definition of the argument doesn't really fit how reality works. So use a term that works there. You seem like a guy who'd had his stomach pumped from swallowing the seminiferous fluids from semen from too many male counterparts in a single afternoon. So you say I look like a cum guzzling queen? So I'm not surprised at all that you'd be up for the boofing. No, I never said I boofed any drugs. I don't think I've ever boofed anything before. I've never even had like a suppository. Not that I'd be opposed to it. I mean, God put your O button up there for a reason. All right? Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Just saying. Customers order while standing or pay before they. I mean, I don't think that counter service is the line, because there are definitely counter service places where servers will actually like go up to your table and check on you and bring you drinks and stuff like that. So those I would still tip just like I would in any other restaurant. But if it's just a counter position where like you're ordering from a kiosk, or you're like inputting your shit on like a phone, or like you scan a thing and all they do is bring your food out, then yeah, I could understand tipping the minimum like 5% or nothing at all. Totally fine. Like, the arguments that these people make are fine, but they're looked at in a microcosm here and concentrated to all of tipping. You know, when they're really these very specific cases, like it's about 30% of customers that are like rude, I guess you would say. But like, I mean, like, there's no need to make it more aberrant than it already is. I think most people know that people don't enjoy tipping, or that they see it as an extra fee, or that it's an overcompensation somehow. I think most people see that. I think most people understand that it's unreasonable to ask customers to subsidize the owner's, employee wages, which, again, that's not really what's happening. But again, I understand that sentiment. And most people just want transparency, which, again, I humbly accept that is absolutely necessary. That things need to be transparent. Where else are you streaming aside from YouTube and Twitch? Just YouTube and Twitch. Just them two fine platforms is a bit of a stretch, but them two fine platforms. Welcome, thank you. I assume maybe you probably came over from YouTube. Tipping culture is one of the main reasons I have stopped eating out. Thank you. We are not going to miss you. If more people stopped and made it vocal, it is because of the tipping culture that things would change. Until then, nothing will. If people stopped and made it vocal, well, I mean, I guess you're not tipping anyone anymore, but if the restaurant fails, then the staff will be out of the job. So you are sticking it to the owner, but you're also sticking it to everyone who works there, which are not responsible for how the owner pays too low, or how the owner takes tips off the top when pooling, or how the owner will just do outright corruption and charge fees that have nothing to do with tips or anything like that. Voting with your wallet does more than communicate your position. It can effectively destroy these businesses, which is fine. I mean, hey, if an owner is being unscrupulous and treating their workers like that, then maybe they deserve to be out of business. But just like I said earlier on, a lot of these people don't necessarily get to choose where they work. We're talking like undocumented immigrants. We're talking people with criminal records. We're talking people who have impediments, either social or mental or developmental, that cause them to have to take these service jobs because they're the only ones that actually allow for people with no skills or experience, and typically on the fringes of society. So if you are one of those people, which account for a lot of people in society, then you need a place that you can go to in an industry that doesn't treat you like a commodity. And if you vote with your wallet, then you are effectively hurting that industry. Yes, it's great for your checkbook, and yes, it's great for the movement, but it actually screws over real people while you're screwing over the owner. I get that maybe it might be seen as necessary because you might consider those people collateral damage, but it's still not a good position to take. I would much rather be fighting on the side of these employees who need a standard of living that's higher than needing to live paycheck to paycheck, than try to take a stance on the local stage and not make a difference at all. And because it's just not going to be en masse. Nobody en masse is just going to stop tipping. I know that people who browse these forums are like, oh, we're going to start a movement. But this has been going on. The tip disparity, the tip fatigue, whatever people feel about not wanting to tip, has been going on for at least 100 years now. At least 100 years. Let's see. No. Yeah. 1920. Yeah. Over 100 years. So we're talking about 120 years now. So around 1900, around 1890 something, was when we really started ramping up It was nice when I went out and ate in Japan. I didn't even speak the language, but I knew exactly how much things were going to cost because there are no taxes after the fact and no tipping in restaurants, which is exactly what anti-tippers want. They want the Japanese style of things. No hidden costs, all just very, very transparent, all right there in plain black and white, but it's industry standard. It's not variable across any other shop, all the same. Also, going out to eat is much cheaper than the US. Yeah, dude. The employees aren't paid poorly paid, and they get things like healthcare and mental health is still a chasm, I think, there, but hopefully that'll change. The most I ever tipped was $50 at an Indian restaurant because the people were nice and the food was average. I mean, fuck yeah. I mean, if the tip was like only $100, then I'd be like, well, I can't spend like that, but I wish I could. The service drove my tip. And it often does. When you exceed service, see, I think this is what a lot of people don't like about tipping in general, is that when you have a top performer, they can often make 6 digits. Like if you are in New York and you're working at like a Thomas Keller satellite, or you're working at what's his face, Chez Panisse, or what the fuck is his name? Eric Repair. If you're working at like one of those places, then you're probably pulling down quite a lot. But the turnover is excruciating, and the hours are crazy, and you really have to hustle. Like you basically have to be like crazy cutthroat to make it in any of those places. And your soul's going to be dead by the time you're 40. You will not be able to have a normal family life. You will always have that 1,000-yard stare. It's like, it's bad for mental health, but you'll be making tons of money. You better give a good tip. I always do, if even just the tip. Well, the next time you're at a damn restaurant, I always tip around 20% at restaurants. I don't want you selling anyone short. I don't. I pay my employees way higher than the cost of living. You better practice what you preach. I do every single day of my life. You should just vote, I do, to have the tip included in the final bill. No, I actually vote to abolish tipping whenever any measures come up. I usually vote for either universal minimum wage or wage adjustments or increases, and for tipping to just go away. But people don't raise measures like that very often. That's why I'm trying to raise awareness. That's why hopefully if my message gets out to people, then perhaps they can educate themselves and find out that tipping isn't the evil monster they make it to be, and maybe they'll start a coalition. I don't know. But I go to my city council meetings almost every week, or here if it's on Zoom. But I'm active in my civil community. Are you? I'm present at any hearing that has to do with development of anything in my neighborhood. I'm on Nextdoor. I'm on, all those neighborhood apps. Like I'm an active member of my community, and I always tip around 20%, and I pay my employees more than anyone else does. I mean, like what? Why wouldn't you? Period. Why wouldn't you? Don't you want your employees to like you? Don't you want your employees to come back and enjoy what they do? Pay them more than anyone else. It's always money. It's never let's give them some perks. Let's give them vision. Like, that's great. Yes, absolutely. But money helps. Really, really helps. Money really helps. Whenever I make like a small amount of money, I'm just like, fuck yes, I am into this. But you should strive to be a better person, and you should strive to try and be an active member in your community, especially if you're over 30, because that shit's going to start impacting you way sooner than it will the kids. You remember when you were 20 and you thought you could do anything? Well, that shit's not true in your 30s. It's even less true in your 40s, and it gets less true as the years go on. If you want society to take care of you, you have to take care of society. That means when you're old and gray and you need someone helping to wipe your bum and you don't want to have to rely on your wife, who definitely hates you by now, to do it, then you need to hire somebody to do it. And if they keep cutting services, if they keep cutting all these programs, if they keep cutting assistance for people to work these medical jobs like they used to have, then you're not going to get someone to wipe your bum for you. It's going to have to be your wife, and that's going to make her despise you even more. Do you want that? Just saying. The bartenders at some of the places I went to Seattle were making way more than me, and I was doing pretty well. It depends on, again, it depends on the location, the type of service, and the type of establishment. Yeah, they can make some bank. But they were at, like, war when they, yeah. As is, like, see, that's cooks by default. Like, you see, like, sometimes I just kind of, like, go, like, you know? Like, if you ever see me do that, that's because I've had some years on the front lines. And I'm not talking about the military. I'm talking about the line. But they were like, so should I DM Society and tell him he's going to have to wipe my bum bum? If he'll do it. If he'll do it. I don't know. I don't know if that's, you know, if you guys have a good enough relationship to facilitate that between you two, then hell yeah, dude. But you're going to have to pay him. That's the whole thing. The whole thing about this is that you're going to have to pay someone to do that. Someone's going to have to pay for that. And if it ain't some kind of societal element, then, you know, and I mean, yeah, it's going to have to happen, you know. Do you make good buffalo chicken wraps and waffle fries? Sure. Why is that your ideal meal? What? Why? But why? What? Why? I was also going to look and see on YouTube real quick to see if there's any videos that are like sort of propagandistic in nature. I don't think that there's a lot of videos that people make that are anti-tipping. I think that's more of like a posting on threads and posting on, you know, whatever the fuck. Reddit? Whatever the fuck, because I'm uncultured and love WoW. Well, but is there like an average meal for the WoW player? Like, should it be like a standard thing, or should you just eat like whatever you want? I don't like standardizing things, okay? I'm an agent of chaos. I don't like standardizing things, okay? Savory deviant delights. Okay, you know, maybe there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe there's nothing wrong with that. Chicago's radical solution for broken tipping culture. Now, I enjoy a more perfect union. I enjoy seeing videos from a more perfect union. I don't know if I've ever played one on here before. But typically there is either some funny or educational content on More Perfect Union. The humor's a little dry. And we're not going to watch the whole thing, but I just want to see if this has any good information on how Chicago is going to fix broken tipping culture.
We need to talk about tipping. From dine-in restaurants to even the vet's office, the pressure to tip has reached a tipping point.
Oh no 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 no! Don't you be tipping at the vet! Don't fucking tip at the vet! What the fuck? I was looking for chapters here. Oh my god, no! Don't tip at the vet. What? Okay, maybe this will have some good info.
Specifically, tipping in America.
30% of Americans think that tipping culture is out of control.
I don't tip. You don't tip.
They don't believe in it.
See, do you remember? See, oh, this is the scene that you were talking about. Cat down the road. So pay attention. But yes, 30%. You remember what I said earlier? That we all can be assured that it's around 30% of people who are quote unquote rude customers. Do I know my stats or what? Do I know my stats or what? Am I educated on my stats? Or am I educated on my stats?
Are you okay? Yeah. There's no escaping the iPad swivel.
Sorry, broadcast died on me. As it does pretty gosh darn often. Which is fine. It turned my camera off, but we can retrieve it. Stop barking! Stop! Hey! Ladies. Ladies. They've stopped barking already. Oh my god, my nose itches. Oh my god, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be like people to assume that I'm picking my nose when I'm scratching it. So I have to be like tactful. I can't like stick a finger up there, but it itches like up here. I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm gonna endure it. I'm gonna endure it. Focus. You must focus. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Not gonna do it. Might be seen as picking my nose. I'm gonna do. Okay, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna take a tissue, and a tissue. See, like when your nose runs, you can jam a finger up there with a tissue on it because it's more sanitary. So I'm gonna do that. Don't look. Oh my god, that is amazing. Oh, that itch was so bad. Holy fuck. Oh. Moving on.
In your face. Is 15% enough? No, it's more like 20% now, right? I mean, I should tip more because I don't want to seem like an asshole. I'm not an asshole, right? Do I have to tip when I get carryout? I mean, I came and I picked it up. Has it always been like this? Breathe. It's not just you.
That's a good tip. That's 25%. What do you mean? Okay, just like Apple Pay?
The real reason tipping has gotten so frustrating is because your wallet is actually subsidizing the payroll for large corporate chains across the country. Millions of workers in America.
And I would say I disagree with that. I would say don't do that. Don't subsidize large corporate chains. They should be paying their employees way better. Come on. Is it blurry to you guys, or am I just a little bit stoned? It looks blurry to me. It doesn't look like the focus is 100%. Hang on, let me turn on my sniper mode that I use for FPS games. I gotta turn on my sniper mode, hang on. This is what I do. Hang on, I gotta get really close to the screen. This is what I do for anytime I play an FPS and I'm using a sniper rifle. This is why I'm such a good shot. I don't look that blurry to me. Although my eyes are starting to hurt now. How's it look, guys? Is the camera too blurry? Look at my face. Look at my face. Look at my face. Is it too blurry? Is the camera too blurry? I think it's okay. Alright, sniper mode deactivated. Oh! That hurt my eyes. All that just to go into sniper mode, you know? It's tough. It's tough, you know, being a pro at these things. It's really tough. It's tough being good at video games. It's tough, you know, being good at life in general. It's tough being this handsome. It's tough being like as well built, like a Greek god. It's tough. It's tough. You know? It's tough. I don't know what else to say.
Are paid a shockingly low tipped minimum wage of $2.13 an hour. That means they have to rely on a customer's tips to make a living wage.
Now that's federal. I'll cop to the fact that like this has been a propaganda point on the other side, is that there is still like rampant tip credit usage. Typically, that's not a whole lot more. That's not as prevalent as it used to be, and very few states still do the tip credit. I think it's only like 3 states that still do the tip credit. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's like minimal. So I wouldn't be, if I was arguing for tipping either to continue the way that it was now or to take a change somehow, like I would not be using this as a reason for why. It's weak reasoning. It's a weak argument. I wouldn't be. Nah. It's most people in service industries, most people across the board are getting paid at least minimum wage. It's really just like sectors that don't have oversight or that don't have laws for protection or regulation or things like that, that still kind of keep people being paid minimum, like under minimum, because they're getting paid under the table, or they're not being like, it's a small business that has the minimum amount of employees, but just over, so they're not subject to oversight as much as like a big corporation that does regular audits for that type of thing. And small businesses, I don't know if you guys work in like the health industry or any of like these places that do like audits of shops, but it's few and far between. It's very rare. I worked at Whole Foods on and off for like 10 years and worked my way kind of up until I was basically a part-time manager. And like I was working part-time, but I was a full man. Like I was a manager that only worked part-time. And so one of my sort of responsibilities was to walk with inspection agencies when they came in to verify that we were adhering to all like the guidelines and stuff. And my specialization was not specialization, but the department that I was the most familiar with was seafood, because that's where I had started. And so seafood has 3 different agencies that come in to oversee operations. One is the MSC, which is Marine Stewardship Council. It's basically about traceability when it comes to seafood. That's really all you need to know. Good Organics, which is I think it was at the time, here it's the ODA, but back there it was the ODHA, and it was just the health authority that would conduct audits on Good Organics to make sure that you were keeping organic stuff separate from non-organic stuff. Really, really simple shit. But then also the health department, and I believe one more. OSHA could come by, but that was like for shop-wide stuff. Basically, you have a lot of regulation and oversight that exists for corporate entities, but you don't have a lot of that exists for small mom and pops. So small mom and pops are typically not reported for violations very often, which means they stay off the government's radar. And if you stay off the government's radar, you're not usually subject to the laws that protect employees in other industries. And so restaurants are hotbeds of rampant corruption, bias and favoritism, and all different kinds, manner of exploitation and corruption that can exist in a business simply by nature of existing. And the way that we structured tips, again, was just after slaves were freed, and employers, these unscrupulous, corrupt types, didn't want to pay a full wage for someone who they saw as less than human, so they decided to allow the customers to determine whether or not they would allow their biases to give them a full wage or not. So it was always designed with the intent to underpay. And it is the owners that we should be taking that up with, and not each other. Very simply.
The $2.13 an hour tipped wage has been frozen since 1991. And to add to that frustration, tipping laws are incredibly confusing and inconsistent. If you took a road trip across the country and tipped 20% everywhere you went, your money would have a radically different impact on the workers you're interacting with, depending on what type of worker they are and what state they're employed in. So even if you're trying to do the right thing, you and the workers you're trying to show appreciation for are both getting ripped off. But if everyone is mad, why don't things change? Because there is one powerful lobby who's happy with the way things are and has been working behind the scenes for over a century to keep tipping broken for all of us. In this video,
Yep. Oh my god, she's going to talk about the National Restaurant Association. Ooh, go fuck yourself, NRA. Just, you're almost as bad as the actual NRA. Go fuck yourself, NRA. Cisco can also go suck a D. But I guess not, because that could be fun. Like, it could be seen as a fun activity. So don't, although going and fucking oneself could also be seen as a recreational activity. Fuck off. There you go. Cisco can fuck off.
we'll break down the history of tipping. We'll talk to the people on the front lines challenging the tipping norms and fighting for their right to a living wage. And we'll talk about who exactly is benefiting from the broken status quo. This is the Classroom for More Perfect Union, and today we're talking about tipping. North America is the only region in the world that has this kind of tipping culture. And why is North America so behind? Basically, it can be all tied back to one lobbying group determined to keep workers and customers frustrated while they make more money for themselves. They're called the National Restaurant Association. They play a big role in all of this, and I'll get back to that in a minute, but first we have to go back farther and look at how the tipping practice arrived in this country. It's the 1850s, and rich Americans traveling to Europe are taking notice of a unique custom here where aristocrats give their servants small amounts of money to acknowledge their work. They called it tipping. The rich Americans were like, whoa, that's dope, let's try this back home. But back in America, people were not into this tipping idea.
All right, so far, So far, my history is still dead on. Man, broadcast is not like when you mess with the focus of the camera. I gotta do it though. I have to. It wasn't doing it automatically like it's supposed to. You camera. Well, it's old. It is way old. It needs to be retired soon. I would just like to turn off focus or autofocus. There we go. Keep it exactly the way that it is.
Everyday barmaid was like, yeah, no, I have 4 kids and can't afford this. And the European immigrants were like, absolutely not. We just left this aristocrat nonsense and we are not bringing that energy here. The whole concept was seen as anti-democratic and deeply un-American. But in 1860, something big happened.
Whoop.
Emancipation.
Whoop! Whoop!
Now there was
Picking my
this
nose,
huge
guys.
population of
Look,
newly
I'm
freed
picking
black
it.
men
I'm
and
not.
women
I'm
looking
actually
for work.
itching on the
White businesses
outside.
knew they could exploit these
Ooh.
vulnerabilities and pay black Americans as little as possible. They remembered that tipping system from Europe and they thought they might give it a try. Only this
Oh.
time, they were going to do it their own way. They
Oh.
thought, what if instead of paying these people a wage, we asked the customer.
So far, this batting average, this would put me in the major leagues. I'm remembering my history correctly. Now, don't fucking take this away from me. I'm pretty impressed that my memory is still pretty good. Don't fucking take this from me.
To provide a small tip for their service, and then these workers can live solely off of that.
Why should it be your burden of responsibility to give me all this money?
In the restaurant and railroad industry,
Yep.
this became the standard, and the mutated American version of tipping was officially a go.
Tips had replaced wages.
But over in Chicago, the long hours and little pay for porters in the Pullman Car Company became too much. So after years of fighting and organizing under the leadership of Philip Randolph, they successfully created a union that guaranteed them a wage. It was an incredible win for these men.
Unions, man. Like, they used to be, and they are still for the most part pretty good. UCFW is pretty shitty, but there are some good unions still. Like, I think trade unions are still pretty good. But like I said, the ones that are free from oversight are the ones that tend to be the shittiest. So if you have, unions for food service that are typically unregulated and freewheeling, like a bit like the Wild West of food service, kind of hard to enforce all that stuff,
But not everybody was happy about this. Restaurants were taking notice of these workers fighting for a fair wage, and they didn't want this happening. So to ensure cheap labor, they banded together and formed the National Restaurant Association. The NRA's
Yep.
lobbying efforts were clear from the beginning. Pay workers as little as legally possible.
Yep.
Cut to 1938, hello Great Depression and economic turmoil. The government steps in with a new deal and creates the first federal minimum wage of 25 cents an hour. Now all workers in this country were guaranteed to be paid a wage at the minimum, except tipped restaurant workers. They
Yep.
worked out of the bill. Why?
Yep.
Because of NRA lobbying.
Yep.
30 years later, during the Civil Rights era, mounting pressure from the black community pushed Congress to finally address tipped restaurant workers making a wage. But instead of giving them the minimum, Congress added a tip credit that guaranteed these workers a sub-minimum wage.
Now, for an industry, I'm going to spell this out real slow for you, and I hope that somebody in chat can answer me. Now, for an industry that is staffed predominantly by immigrants and minorities, specifically Black Americans, what could possibly be the reason that when drafting a law like this, they would leave that sector out? What could possibly drive someone? What concept could possibly drive someone to not want to sign those papers when introduced with the idea that an industry that is staffed predominantly with Black Americans, newly freed slaves, who would refuse that? What type of person do you think? I'm gonna get some more water. I hope to see the answer in the chat soon. I'm gonna get some water. Yes, I'm wearing sweatpants. Don't look at my butt! No, look at it. Look at it. Now don't look at it. Now look at it. Now don't look at it. Now look at it. Now don't look at it. dog's a pooper. My dog's a pooper. It's definitely not race, so we can cross that off. It couldn't be race. It couldn't be race. Why would it be race? Why would people not like black people? Come on. There's not a person alive who doesn't like black people. Come on. Why would that happen? Why would that happen? It can't be race. It's not race. Why would you ever say that? How dare you? How dare you suggest that?
This meant workers could legally be paid less than the minimum wage because, theoretically, the tips they got from customers would make up the difference. And if their tips didn't bring their take-home pay up to the minimum wage, their employer legally had to pay them that missing difference. Make sense?
Depending on what shift you end up with and what time of year it is, kind of can end up pretty easily getting screwed by not having enough hours. Technically, they're supposed to balance it out anyway, but it can be a lot to expect and hope for if you're not already making a livable wage, you know?
The sub-minimum...
And a great way to alleviate that, if you are, you know, just gonna try to keep tipping around and stay an advocate for tipping, is to just pool tips and split them by shift. So every time a new person comes on, you split all the tips evenly, and then you start it over again. Every shift, every time someone new comes on, every time someone clocks out. Reason why managers don't do that is because it's a lot to keep track of in real time as opposed to just after the fact. But the problem with pooling tips is that it is absolutely corrupt, inherently a corrupt inherently corrupt process. And it's hard for me to say that there are a few places who do it the right way because we cannot verify that. You see what I'm saying? So like the very existence of pool tipping says that somebody's going to exploit that. And because pool tipping has to be done behind closed doors and only by managers, then there's just too much potential for corruption there. There's too much potential for favoritism, for like, you know, keeping tips for yourself or tipping out managers, which is illegal, by the way. There's just too much potential for danger, for like something bad there that we have to figure out a different system. And so as it is now, I don't think that people should pool tips, but it's a fair way to do wages if you still rely on tips, is to just split the tips per every shift. Every single shift, all split completely evenly.
minimum wage stayed 50% below the federal minimum wage for decades until 1991, when tipped restaurant workers were making $2.13 an hour. That rate hasn't changed since 1991. Currently, right now, in 2023, nearly 20 states legally pay tipped restaurant workers $2.13 an hour. Others pay just cents more than that.
Okay, so nearly 20. It's still not. I mean, I guess that's like 30%, right? 30 to 40%, something like that. As of 2023, I think that's changed as of 2026. Hang on, let me see. Apparently there's no formal number, but I don't believe that. Because tip credit use is a compliance choice rather than a mandated practice, and because state-local rules differ, there is no centralized data set. The best available evidence comes from labor law research, industry surveys, economic studies. I honestly thought that it was way less, but I guess people are shittier than I thought they were. Which isn't surprising.
My paying sub minimum wage. Your workers are living in poverty. That's just the bottom line. I was living in poverty. Your rent is $1,500. So you have to hustle, put up with all kind of sexual harassment, put up with all kind of everything from your boss, from your customers, so you can make it.
You know what it means when somebody pays you minimum wage? You know what your boss was trying to say? Is like, hey, if I could pay you less, I would. But it's against the law.
The subminimum wage doesn't just apply to tipped workers. It also applies to people with disabilities, youth, and those who are incarcerated. In Alabama, for example, workers under the age of 20 can make as little as $4.25 an hour for their first 90 days of employment.
These
people
insane.
are doing the same work as everybody else, but they're being paid less purely because they're younger. Only 7 states...
Which, you're not allowed to discriminate based on age in businesses when you're like hiring or like in terms of your actual, you know, business operations. Like you're not allowed to discriminate. So why are you allowed to pay discriminately. What? Like that is completely antithetical to the entire thing that you were trying to set up here in the first place. Ah! Sorry. Trying to focus. There we go. I guess I gotta manually focus it now. Well, probably just for this. Just this one time. So I was still looking a little fuzzy there.
States mandate that all workers, regardless of tips, must be paid the full state minimum wage. Why so few states, you might ask? The NRA.
From my cold, dead hands.
The other NRA. Today, the National Restaurant Association is driven by large corporate chains, and they spend millions on political lobbying that makes the lives of restaurant workers harder. The NRA's lobby is so massive, it's really hard to explain just how.
So it's like if you've ever worked in food service and you've ever dealt with a company called Cisco, it's like that. It's a company that started out small that went around just buying all the failing businesses that it could to amass and amass and amass and amass, like The Thing or like a Grey Goo scenario, you know? And then it just like started buying out entire chains once it just got so massive that it couldn't be stopped. Not good. Not good. Middlemen, not good companies. Bad. Middlemen are bad. We don't like middlemen here. We don't support middlemen. No. Bad. Bad middlemen.
How deep they're in with Congress? Here's one example. Remember how I mentioned the sub-minimum wage has stayed $2.13 since 1991? That's because of Herman Cain.
Is this a great country or what? Today, I am announcing that I am running for president of the United States of America.
Before he ran for president, he got to start working as a mathematician for Coca-Cola, then managed hundreds of Burger Kings, and eventually became CEO of a popular pizza chain.
Enjoy your Godfather's pizza.
His junk food career path led him to become head of the National Restaurant Association. In the 90s, he struck a deal with Clinton and the Democrats saying they could raise the overall minimum wage to $5.15 as long as they kept the sub-minimum wage frozen forever at $2.13 an hour. And that's exactly where it remains today. Frozen. You know, never mind the fact that you can't even get a coffee at McDonald's for $2 anymore, but whatever, moving on. This same kind of deal happened in New York when they raised the minimum wage to $17 an hour and left out tipped workers. This is what the NRA fights for. And where does their large lobbying budget come from? Some of it comes from the membership dues paid by the chains like McDonald's and Starbucks, but a lot of it comes directly from the...
So this is, again, why I don't believe that you should tip corporate chains, because they lobby to keep tipping the way that it is. It's like the mob. It's seriously like they want nothing more than to keep the people who are at the bottom of society still at the bottom of society for as long as possible. And if we're supposed to fucking lift ourselves up by our bootstraps, that's kind of a little more difficult when people specifically design it that way. That you cannot lift yourself by your bootstraps. It's a little bit of an empty gesture when people try to say that like it's some kind of fucking societal own or something. Like you can't, he's creating a situation in which you cannot lift yourself up from your bootstraps. So how do you do it then? Do you what? Do you fire him? How do you suggest that one proceeds when the chips are all stacked against one? Fucking magic?
Wallets of the workers they're exploiting. The New York Times investigation showed how the NRA's lobbying budget has come from charging millions of waiters and cooks mandatory food safety courses. That means workers have been unknowingly giving their money to a group that acts directly against them.
Middlemen. Fucking middlemen. They invented these agencies. So don't fucking get me started on organic certification. I swear one of these days I just want to turn the stream on with just like a fun like background thing and then just start riffing on something. Like, because I swear to God, I bet you I could rant on like a lot of these topics for at least 4 hours. I just want to try it one day. We'll see if it works. But like organic certification, health department relays. So like an organization or company that comes to do your health inspection that isn't the health agency. The ODA, the health authority that isn't the at your state's like local health department, and middlemen like ServSafe or like Good Organics or what else? Organic certification, not organic certification. Non-GMO certification. So like in order to get those stickers, the non-GMO certified. All of those are rackets. All of those are literally just, it's like you see these channels popping up on YouTube now that do nothing but do like sort of lightly disguised AI slop. It's like that kind of thing. It's exactly like that kind of thing, actually. It's really just a series of businesses that are all owned by the same people that cooperate with each other to create monopolies. That's really all it is. here. Put that top. On the top. I want to watch a series about an ancient Roman Thermopolium or Popina set in either 117 CE in Ostia right after the Hadrian takes power, and we've got all Egyptian grain ships, Greek, Syrians, North African traders, tons of dock workers and stuff. Basically, Deadwood meets the Bear meets Rome. It sounds pretty in-depth. I don't know. I don't think I've ever really thought of what that would be like. Would it be like gritty and serious, or would it be like a... I don't know that a comedy would work. Like a dark comedy, maybe. But do people like Rome? Like I never saw the show, so I don't know if that's if it was like a good. I don't know if people considered it like a good show or not. I was like, I don't know that I've seen a lot of like Roman and Greek stuff, like any of that antiquity stuff, be like super popular. But I'd watch it. Literally the tone of those three shows. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'd watch it. I don't know. I'd watch it, but I don't know if I'd like it. Especially considering that the Bear like glorifies all the worst parts about restaurant work. I don't like it. I don't like that. Feels icky.
Their interests and lobbies to keep their wages as low as possible. Okay, but what does the NRA have to say for themselves?
Indirectly, they don't outwardly glorify it, but people see it as glorification. Just like they saw Anthony Bourdain and were like, oh, I should be like that, even though he's like, no!
The NRA plays a very clever trick. They pit the livelihoods of small businesses and tipped workers against each other, as if the two are always mutually exclusive. They like to claim that mom and pop restaurants simply cannot survive if they pay their employees a full minimum wage. It's a fear tactic that works because who doesn't want to protect small businesses? They're leveraging the vulnerabilities of small business.
Which is, you literally could just like look at any other business. You could just be like, okay, but does a shoe store go out of business because it has to pay its employees minimum wage? Does like regular minimum wage? Does a hotel go out of business because it has to pay its employees regular minimum wage? Like, no. What? If you have to cut 1 or 2 employees, then yeah, that sucks. But like, that's what you have to do to pay people a fair fucking price. I'm sorry, it sucks. I don't want to be one of those people who get cut, but if it changes the whole business model in order that so that they can pay people fairly, I'd probably take one for the team and still be able to sleep at night. This is why you start out paying fair wages. This is why you start your business out just paying everybody a fair living wage. And I wouldn't charge less for my burger or charge more for my burger. I would charge exactly the same that it had always been costing me. My margin would be smaller and I would have to just eat that.
To spread their agenda and keep wages low. The reality is consumer spending is higher when people are paid more. 2 one-fair wage studies compare California, which is a state without a minimum wage.
That's the thing that people don't understand. Customers, that's the thing that customers don't understand, is that if you're getting paid more at work, like if you're at work, you're a mechanic or whatever, I mean, maybe not mechanics get paid a lot, but like if you're at work and you get paid an extra $100, are you probably going to go out to eat that night? You know, like, what's your likelihood that if you're making more, you're more likely to go out to eat? It's a lot. It's a high likelihood. I mean, the big thing about using a thermopolium or a popina would be to give us crossroads of life in a place like Ostia, where we see dock workers sit next to a legionnaire, sit next to a conniving counselor. And then, like, it would have to be centered entirely on the like the business itself. Like, even when we see these like beginnings of the stories or like little slices of life, they leave when the customer leaves. You don't follow it like in any sort of plot manner. That would be cool. It'd be like a oh, what are those called? When it's like small stories mashed into one big movie. Anthology. It'd be like an anthology. But like it wouldn't, like there would be no transitions between the anthology. It would just be a customer's leaving, you know, and then you wouldn't get their slice of life anymore. I think that'd be cool. Try to figure, it would be like a challenge for a writer to try and fit all that into like an effective little blurb, you know.
To Maryland and New York,
like
which are
maybe
states
like 3 or 4 in an episode.
with the sub-minimum wage. The study found that California had the highest rate of restaurant sales. California also had a larger small business growth rate in the restaurant industry compared to New York. And what's crazy is the NRA knows small businesses can survive if they're paid higher wages. They know this. During a shareholders meeting in 2021, the Denny's CFO told investors that the California law raising the minimum wage to $15 actually improved business.
They had 6 consecutive years of positive yes.
The more people are making across the board, the more people are going to go out to eat, the better restaurants are going to do, and the better they're going to pay their employees, the less they're going to ask for tips, the more like the standard is going to be that they don't need to take tips. And then it's just entirely optional. Then we become fucking Japan. God damn it. I watched this Chinese TV series about a matrilocal husband running a cloth shop in an ancient China. It was pretty weird, but I did watch it. Sounds weird. I thought I saw the word robot in there somewhere, and my brain wasn't making sense of how that would have worked in the scenario that I was reading. It was weird. It was like a brain hiccup.
Wage was going up, putting money into the pockets of our consumers to send back with us. So we actually have seen the benefit of minimum wage in a tempered way.
This means that after years fighting against minimum wage increases and insisting doing so would kill restaurants, these restaurants in the NRA were actually like, never.
And even indirectly, if you're just improving the lives of your employees, they're going to enjoy working there more. They're going to be upset. They're going to be less upset about whatever corruption or exploitation you're doing because they'll be being paid more. They won't care.
We're fine. We're good. Actually, we'll be fine. There's nothing to worry about here. Another talking point the NRA has is insisting that with the tip credit, workers never actually make $2.13 an hour, and that employers who allow this are breaking the law. Over a third of tipped workers report their tips and wages did not bring them up to their state's minimum wage. The US is the only country who has a tipping system like this. This is a uniquely American problem. There is good.
I could definitely watch a TV series about a robot husband running a cloth shop in ancient China. Yeah, it would be interesting. I don't know how you'd make that work. I'd be into it.
Good news in this story. We are in an extremely historic time for workers. Let's go back to Chicago, the same city where the Pullman Porters unionized almost 100 years ago. The Chicago City Council is about to pass legislation that would phase out the sub-minimum wage there. That means tipped workers in Chicago will make at least $15.80 an hour with tips paid on top.
This is going to be so historical when One Fair Wage passes here in Chicago. It's going to be national news because it started here.
The One Fair Wage ordinance had so much energy behind it.
I made a joke to that effect, Raw One, earlier, so kudos.
From workers to local aldermen to Mayor Brandon Johnson, that even the Illinois Restaurant Association came out and supported the move, securing a compromise to phase the wage increase over 5 years. And the NRA is furious at the IRA. I mean, if I was the NRA, I'd be furious too. Think about it. Chicago is the largest American city to independently phase out the sub-minimum wage. This could have a huge
Sorry I'm late. Raw One, there's no mandatory time to be here. You just got to show up before it ends.
Impact across the country. And over
then you won't miss me.
For a dozen states, there are bills moving right now to push for the same thing. Over 1 million workers have left the restaurant industry, and 80% say the only thing that would bring them back is a full, livable wage guaranteed by law.
I love what I do. It's the passion to see somebody happy, or you fixing something that they like, and they enjoy it.
Restaurant owners, most of them do want to treat their workers right, do want to make sure that they're taking care of their workers. If low wages is a higher turnover rate, higher wages is a low turnover rate because it shows that you actually care about your workers.
There's a way to get this done where the CEOs, the leadership.
I have way more people calling me asking me if they can work another event for me than I have running out of my employee. So increased pay might be doing something right after all.
There might be something to it. Feed their families and go on vacation and enjoy life.
And so now workers have a choice. There's no going back to sub-minimum wages. Now it's just paying it forward for us and the next generation to come.
We will come back to work because it's livable now.
See, that's like it's not even a really indirect result. It's really a direct result of increasing wages across the board, is that you're doing something nice for members of your community. And even if you're just supporting a minimum wage, a higher minimum wage, or eliminating the tax credit for people who are, just doing in those positions, who are in that environment where they can make lower than minimum wage, then it would make you feel good to be lifting them up, as a people out of poverty, right? Like, isn't that why we form civilizations in the first place? To become community members and to help one another? It just makes sense. I don't know. It makes sense to me. I don't know why it doesn't make sense to some people, but it makes sense to me. You don't want to go on vacation. Anti-tourist protests everywhere except USA. I am not surprised. It would not surprise me to know that that is a true thing. I would be very not surprised.
So, should you stop tipping?
Oh, it's the end of the video. I think that is a very good video to watch amidst all of this anti-tipping propaganda. Sort again by hot again. Sort again by hot again. Poor seasonal workers don't get the money because of protests chasing the tourists. Yeah, that would be pretty fucking shitty. 3 hours ago. Has anyone done a directory of directory of restaurants with mandatory service charges, gratuities, or other types of fees? So, I mean, whatever. It's a free country. Put all these restaurants on a list if you want, but you're limiting your own choices here. I don't just do whatever you want, I guess. But absent that type of law, hang on. I'm okay with the restaurants charging whatever they want. What I'm not okay with surprise charges. A tip is not a surprise charge. Holy fuck, dude. A tip is not just some surprise. Surprise! We've been doing it for over 100 years. Tipping is not a surprise. Hasn't been a surprise. Will not be a surprise. It's not a fucking surprise. You know it's coming. You just choose to be a dickhead. The anti-tourists say that they can't afford to go to the expensive restaurants because the tourists increasing prices. I mean, that's a result of not wanting the commerce. That's what happens. At the end of a meal or after everyone has been seated. After everyone has been seated? No, the tip is... No! They don't even know what you're fucking eating. So you're saying that food itself is somehow a surprise charge? Your logic doesn't even work in your own fucking point. If I was king, I would make them disclose when reservations are made or when a party is seated. Yeah, I mean, pretty much most restaurants will let you know if you're charged a gratuity on like a specific number of people. Otherwise, it's usually just assumed that the tip is somewhere between 10 and 20%. There's not too much more to go into it. That's it. That's all it is. What do you think if you had a seaside restaurant in Europe? I don't know. I would be charging fair prices and I would be paying fair wages to my employees. And if I have to shut down, I have to shut down. If my business fails, it fails. I will know that it's through no fault of my own. But I usually make sure to have a safety net underneath myself. You know, whenever I go into business, I make sure that I have enough to function during the lean times, and make sure that I am skilled enough or knowledgeable enough with every system that's involved in my restaurant that I can operate single-handedly if I need to. Everyone tips, everyone has money, and is big spending on vacation, but locals are protesting. I mean, if you open a business in a seaside town, you kind of have to understand that your business is seasonal. So you'd be, you know, saving up a nest egg and shit like that, right? What if protesters disrupted your patrons? I would probably be protesting with them, giving out free water and food and drink and stuff. So they wouldn't disrupt my patrons. I'd be disrupting my own patrons. We would probably have, you know, the flag of whatever nation. I would be part of my community. I would be, if that was the sentiment that was, you know, the reasonable sentiment to be had. You'd be like, tourists, fuck off. Well, no, that's not what I said. Raw One, since you joined this channel, you've had a habit of putting words in my mouth, and I'm not a big fan of that. You really should just take me on the words that I say. Unless I indicate that there's some other meaning to them, because otherwise then you're just not even talking to me about the thing that you want to be talking to me about. Then we can't have a substantive conversation. I'm like slightly autistic, dude. Like I actually mean the things that I say. Like and sometimes, you know, I may hyperbolize, but it's very rare, few and far between, you know. Usually only on here. I guess I code on here. I don't think that I did. You'd say that you'd be protesting with them and that they'd be protesting, and they are protesting your customers. Well, no, they're protesting tourists, right? They're protesting like American tourists, I assume, is sort of the vibe. But that doesn't really matter who they are protesting. If it was the reasonable choice to make, I would be like giving my employees a day off. I would be saving enough up so that I can make sure to get through this lean time so that I can provide all the food and water necessary for the protesters to get the nourishment they need. If it was not a reasonable stance to take, See, I don't know the situation. If it was not a reasonable stance to take, then I would probably be, you know, either joining or supporting the counter protest. I don't know. You gave me a hypothetical, but I don't know the details, so. No, they protest tourists in general, probably other Euros. Right, so that means that, you know, if I am not on good terms with my local community, then I would depend on tourists for my money. If I was well established in my community and had a good relationship with the members of my community, protesting or not, they would still continue to patronize my restaurant. By default, I develop a good relationship with my community before I've ever opened a business there. I do demographic studies, I do outreach, I try to make sure that I do like special events in those neighborhoods so that I can establish a relationship with the community before I ever open my restaurant. So I start on good footing. I would leave on good footing. And if that still signals the end of my business, then the community didn't want to support me in the first place. And that's fine too. Que sera, sera. Think about it like that. You have a good relationship and serve locals until the season when you serve and are filled with tourists. I don't know how that changes things for me. I'm not easily swayed like that. They still protest and chase of your tourists because they are superior locals. I mean, I wouldn't really have much control over that, would I? I was looking at some maps, and it's crazy to look at the map of Antarctica research stations and seeing all 29 of these countries sharing research space and stuff. You would hope that Mars looks like that on some level someday. Nah, man, I want to see space hotels up there, man. I want to see, like, whole colonies. I want to see cities. I want to see, like, I want us to be, like, super advanced, crazy, technological, teleporting all over the place, you know, like, manufacturing our own food from, like, a little pod in front of us. Like, it gives me any of the pizza that I like, and it's just always going to give me pizza and shit, you know, like, whoa, I love it. And it's always going to have those little cut pepperonis that gather the grease, and it's going to be, like, just hot enough to be delicious, but like not too hot so that it burns the roof of my mouth. I'd be into that. Why are you so defensive? So defensive today about putting words in your mouth. You said that I said fuck my customers and fuck my employees. I never said that. That's you putting words in my mouth. I can't write a Wikipedia entry, so there's some effort in understanding. That wasn't nuanced. That was so you're saying fuck your customers and fuck your staff. And I wasn't defensive. I'm saying that you're putting words in my mouth. That's an observation, my friend. Martian pepperoni is the best pepperoni. Something about the gravity. Yeah. I don't know. Are we heavier? No, we're lighter, right? We're lighter. The further that you get, or the bigger the planet is, the less gravity. Right? Because the more distance from the gravitational center. Heavier. Why did I think we were lighter? No. What is it? What's the metric here? It's just a simplified way to talk. Well, I take people at their word, so you're gonna have to actually, like, you know, use actual, you know, what you mean with me, and not expect me to pick up on any nuance, because we're communicating through text, not voice. You gotta see that there's a barrier there, you know. That's what the tourist protests say, man. Read the news. I don't read the news of how tourism is affecting other nations' restaurants. Why is that something I should be aware of? We are heavier on Earth. Thank you, Hampy Samp. I appreciate you being here. You're missing out. Well, apparently not. Because, I mean, my life's full enough without having to worry about the nuances of how tourist protests are affecting restaurants in in other countries. That doesn't happen. Like, I don't think about that in everyday life. I'm happy to learn about it, but it's just not. It wasn't already up in here. It wasn't already up in the mental Rolodex. Sorry, no. Hold on. Whoa! I know most people don't know what a Rolodex is. Don't crucify me in the chat. I don't deserve it. I'm old. I just happen to be old. All right? I know that Rolodexes don't exist anymore. I've seen some in thrift stores, but I've come up with a new way to describe this. And I think I might have said this on here before, but I've come up with a new way to describe what I mean when I say mental Rolodex. All right, bear with me here. Instead of Rolodex, because if you don't know what a Rolodex is, it's like a cylinder that you use to keep business cards on or contact information. It's basically like a phone, a contacts app on your phone. And so you spin it and you get the right one, and then you pull the card out, or you like get the information, whatever. No, I do not watch World Cup soccer. I didn't this year. I have before, but it's you know, it's boring to me. But most sports are, so don't think that that's a specific attack on soccer. I call it my mental notes app now. I think that's a good trade. I think that's a good update to the saying. And it's better than Rolodex. I think it works. I think it works for the modern audiences. Telling people that you aren't tipping anymore, question mark. Timely Cake 8304. What about White House UFC card? Did you see that? Nope. I think that it's immensely sad that people are going to tune in even to hate watch a production where a senile, whining baby cost taxpayers money while cutting our essential services to have airplanes fly over a fighting event that was happening on the same lawn where presidents gave some of the most memorable speeches and addresses. I think it's a bit of a travesty. I think it's a bit of a unpatriotic act, and yeah, I think it's just sort of a cherry on top of stuff that we've already seen from the current administration. I guess that would be a take, but I don't think it's an especially hot one. I think, you know, the hot takes all already happened already. You gotta get to the subject quick these days, and that's why I don't cover a lot of like current events anymore. Is because like I'm too late to the party sometimes. Did they taint the White House? I mean, you could say that there's different levels of that. You could say that he tainted the White House the second he stepped in there. But then again, you could say that, like, Obama, the fact that, you know, all the drone strikes on children, he would have tainted the White House. You could say that Nixon, with his scandal, he tainted the White House. Using it as his personal sex pad, both JFK and Bill Clinton probably be guilty of that. So, I mean, I think the White House is pretty covered in lots of blood, and maybe the blood of children, but I'm sure that, you know, that might happen too. But mostly the blood of Americans, and not a negligible amount of seminal fluids. We'll leave it at that. All right. And that's our White House. Trump is not solely responsible for it, but he is the president currently. Telling people you aren't tipping anymore, how do you address this when it comes up? I assume they mean in polite conversation, which, if you don't tip, you probably shouldn't be admitting it to friends and family. If you do, and if you openly talk to them, either they're pieces of shit or they already know that you're a piece of shit. I was just at a diner for sandwiches. Probably don't tip in that case, unless it's like a small mom and pop and it seems like they need the tips. And was paying for everyone. It was busy and the food took forever, maybe 45 minutes. Never saw the waitress after she took our order. Did you sit down? It's not really a waitress if they're not waiting on you. I mean, I guess counter service, they'd kind of be waiting on you, but it's more of an attendant or more of like a counter person, or I don't know. I guess you could say waitress. Server is just a better overall way to say. Do you tip? How much is the average tip? In general, do I tip? Yes. How much the average tip is anywhere from 10 to 20%. That's what's acceptable. I usually just double the tax if I'm in a state that does sales tax. That's the easiest way to do it here in America. In my area, 10% is the average, but that's already with a lot of taxes. Already a lot with taxes. Oh, I get it. 10%? I mean, that's fine. 10%'s fine. I ain't gonna chase after you for 10%, but then again, I wouldn't chase after you if you didn't tip. Sales tax is 21%. You want to double that? Right, but I mean, in the States, it's typically somewhere around 7%. Some states have it higher, some states have it lower, some don't do sales tax. But in America, where I live, is what I'm talking about. And brought out appetizer side. Had to ask the kitchen about our food, and they said, "Oh, here it is here," and brought out an appetizer / side. I'm wondering what deli that you're at that has table service. Then the rest came out over 20 minutes. I mean, they might have just forgotten about you. That's usually an isolated incident. It's usually not, you know. You wouldn't double 21%. No, I would not double 21%. The most I ever pay on any tip amount is 20%. So I usually wouldn't go above that. Unless it's like, if a bartender is like a friend of mine and they're giving me a bunch of free drinks, then I would probably pay them the sticker price of at least a couple of those drinks in tips. So it would be over 100% of the bill, because there would be no bill. I just do 20% unless the service is really good, and then I do some more maybe. Yeah, if they're giving me like extra service, if I'm like the only person in the place and they're just like doting on me the whole time, then yeah, I'd be like, okay, whatever, that's fine. But like, you know, I mean, you gotta be like really, and I like it when it's genuine. I don't like it when it seems like they're angling for tips. Like, I would much prefer that it's just an organic, they're a nice person and they're giving good service because that's just what's in their bones. And then I'd be like, yeah, fuck yeah, dude, I'll tip you like 30%. Hell yeah. $120 check for the average restaurant, and so the tip would be $20, $22.50, right? Am I correct in that? It would be like $20. So no, it wouldn't, you know, it wouldn't be a lot. The thing is, if you're going out and spending that much, then you're at least doing well enough to have gone out for dinner that evening, so you're doing well enough to spare the extra $20. I do 150 with tip. I don't know how you convert that. I don't know what that unit, how many of those to a dollar, I guess we could say. How many of those to a dollar is there? If the service is really bad, I might do 15 or something. I don't know. If the service is really bad, then I'm just not going to eat there. That's the thing. Like, I'll still tip, and then I just won't go back. If it's like specifically the server who is doing like all the antagonizing or doing something that's like, I don't know, if the server is actually doing something that causes me anguish, and I'm like, I will never come back here again, then maybe I might not tip. I probably wouldn't tip in that case. Like, if they didn't give me the food, or if they messed up my order and then they were a dick about it, then I would absolutely not tip. But I mean, I think you probably already tipped at that point, but you get what I'm saying, you know, like, it's a permeable and varied thing, and I think that's what people can't really wrap their heads around, is like, well, when do I tip and when don't I tip? And I think they let their insecurity fuel like whatever the distaste is that they have for tipping fatigue. I know that it's multifaceted issue, and that there's not just like one like part of it, but it do be that way. 150 with tip for 120 launch is fine, but 200 is too much. $20 is too much on a $100 bill. That's 20%. $100, it would be 20, and then 150 would be more than that. It'd be 20, 30, it'd be $30. No. Yeah, no. $45. Be 45 bucks. I'm showing my severe lack of mental math. Then the rest came out over 20 minutes, went to the front of the to pay. Waitress slides in to process check. I tipped about $20, but the people I was with thought it should be more, so I added another 20 cash at the table. Why would you tip twice? I don't get that. They said it's not the waitress's fault. I mean, it could be. You don't know that. If she was inattentive, but I mean, if it was also busy, then, you know, I would cut them some slack, obviously. But I'm exhausted with terrible experiences and high costs. Don't take it on a random waitress, dude. Like, come on. I used to be a solid 25 to 30% tipper. No, you're not. Not if one incident is enough to like drive you into wanting to tip nothing. Because I like to eat alone, and I want to sit at a table, not at the bar, and sometimes staff doesn't want to give you a two-top. I don't know why that would ever be the case. This can't be in America. I'm just over it. I am done. It's not the cost. It's the weird attitude and expectation. I'd rather just avoid tipping situations, including restaurants. How do I say this? Is nice way that I think tipping needs to stop. The area I live in has pretty standard $20 tipped wage for servers. What? $20? What? Oh, tipped wage. Okay, so like $20 after tips. I guess is fine. That's a standard of living. That's fine. But like this has nothing to do, this is all just you telling a story. It doesn't have anything to do with how to interact with other people and telling them that you're not tipping anymore. Mandatory tipping is weird. I mean, I don't think that there really is mandatory tipping. Unless you have like a big party in restaurants in America, it's typically either that or, yeah, I don't know. How does that work? $20 after tips? Like diminishing returns on tips, I guess. Service charges cover ATM fees. Sometimes they cover health benefits unless otherwise stated. Other times they cover increase in prices. Like usually a restaurant will put a service fee on a check if customers have been asking them to be more transparent about menu increases. And instead of folding them into the prices on the menus, they will simply put them into a self-contained service charge. It's usually to compensate increased prices for things that don't even include wages. No, seriously, how would that work? I think I don't know. I think what they did was they put $20 on the receipt when they signed it, and then they were shamed about it and then put like $20 in cash on the table, is my understanding. I don't know. I'm not sure. Oh, $20 after tips. No. Sorry. No. Sorry. No. Nope. Whoop. I get what you mean. You're talking about the wage. What they're saying is that the average wage of servers in their local area is $20. That includes the tips that they make during the day. So their $20 an hour would be $20. So no tips on top of that or anything like that. That would be just their straight up wage. I just watched 1 minute of ads. Enjoy the 15 cents. Dude, if you think it's 15 cents, you are way mistaken. You make almost nothing on the 1 minute of ads. Come on now. That'd be like 0.01 cents. The weirdest restaurant I've been to wanted you to write the tip value and make it 30%. What? Servers make around $3,000 in tips monthly in a functioning restaurant, but the wage is crap. In which country again? You said that Turkey. Is it Turkey? I don't know much about Turkey, if I remember correctly. Yeah, so $20 is around the average take home. But also remember that you're not taxed on tips, which is a bad thing, which means that you still need to account for that tax burden at the end of the year. Just because so now tips are essentially seen as bonuses, which means that you have an increased tax burden at the end of the year, which means you probably won't get a refund now if you're receiving tips. Tipped workers already get abysmal refunds in the first place because you have to fill out all your taxes by yourself, and there's like every chance that you might do it wrong. Oh wait, no, I didn't want to have this plugged in. Sorry. I was just remembering I didn't want to plug something in USB like that. I think they changed their name back in 2022 to Turkey. But what happened? Isn't that just how it's pronounced in the accent? Tips are 10% income tax if you declare other income. Yeah, so back in the day, all the servers in the places that I knew were told to claim around 8 to 10%, which is woefully undercompensating what your tax burden is supposed to be. That's part of the corruption, like just from unscrupulous owners who are trying to exploit their workers. Is basically keeping them in poverty so they never, like, if they're good, they never leave, and if they're bad, they leave by their own volition, or they leave by their own, like, failure at the job. It's just extra shitty. Extra shitty. Servers make out quite well. If you don't know how to use Google, sure. I believe the average server makes somewhere between $38,000 and $46,000 a year. Let me confirm that real quick. Oof, no, I was way off. I was way more generous than I should have been. The average server wage in the US is about $18.16 per hour, with total annual earnings typically ranging from $20,000 to $31,000 before taxes, depending on tips and location. They don't even make, like, that's well below the poverty line on a single income. You know, like, here's Hank Green talking about it. I don't want another video for. I gotta find videos against. Oh,
Good
Turkey.
morning, John.
Okay.
Thank you.
Isn't it Turkey? Isn't it just the same accent? Turkey. I am from Turkey. Isn't that the accent? Is that the correct? I'm pretty sure. That's pretty rich over here in 5 years' time. I mean, you guys probably have like less to worry about. I don't know. Oh, sorry. I didn't watch that video. I feel like it's just the same word with the accent. Because, like, imagine when you're just meeting
Good
somebody
morning,
for the
John.
first
Thank
time.
you for your
like when we're in caveman days. Not caveman days, but like a person from the country would say, "I am from Greece." Then like, or Gracia, or whatever their ancient language form of the place that they're from, they would say it in their accent, right? And so you would hear it in your accent with your frame of reference for your accent. So it would sound weird to you. That's why we recognize accents as being different in the first place. But if someone said Turkey, and then you are like, let's say an American, then you're like, oh, it sounds like he said Turkey. Oh yeah, Turkey. Oh, okay, well then I guess the country's called Turkey. Right? Isn't that like, that's like, I think that's understandable. It's one of those things where the country isn't called the thing we call it. Okay. So it's a
delightful video.
It's only 6 minutes and 24 seconds. I was gonna say, like, I've already gone on too many tangents already.
No, I think that it legitimately gave me some of the background that I need to hopefully start
He does not sound good in 1.5 speed.
down the path
sounds
of
like
enjoying
a
some World Cup, which I legitimately want to do,
crackhead
but I did
chipmunk.
find myself asking a bunch of questions. I assume most of those questions will be answered just by watching sports, but one less so.
But I'm
Be
unsure
faster,
where the
Hank.
goals are going to come from, although that's also true for the other teams in their group, the US,
Hank, be
Australia,
faster.
and Turkey.
Is Turkey pronounced like that? Do I not know how Turkey is pronounced? Of course I do know how Turkey is pronounced, the bird, and unlike almost all countries except for Georgia and perhaps Hungary, Turkey, the country, does have the problem of having its toponym in English, its most common toponym, be more commonly used for a thing that isn't the country than for the country itself. So in America, Georgia, if you hear that, you think the state, not the country. If you hear Hungary and don't see it spelled, you think the sensation, not the country.
Right.
China may have once also...
I grew up feeling this in my bones. Turkey is Turkey. Why is it also the name of a country? I felt it in my bones. All while growing up.
held this distinction, but no one calls their China China anymore. And also, we spend a lot of time talking about China the country now. So if you just provide the word China with no context, no one is going to think dishes first. So this is obviously not a great situation for Turkey. Children all over America hear Turkey and they think that it's hilarious that a country is named after a big silly bird. Now, of course,
I always wondered why.
Turns out that the big silly bird is in fact named after the country, but that also has its own problems because of course turkeys don't live anywhere near Turkey. Turkeys were actually named after a different kind of bird that looks a little bit like a turkey, guinea fowl, which were traded to Europe through Ottoman trade routes.
Aren't guinea fowl peacocks? No, peahens.
So they got called...
No, guinea fowl are delicious. Sorry if you're an animal lover.
Turkey fowl because they came through Turkey. These birds, which are not turkeys, are also not from Turkey. Wild fact, in Turkey...
What was Turkey called prior to the Ottomans? No freaking clue.
They were called Hindi because they thought they came from India, and in India, they're actually sometimes called Peru because they thought they were from Peru, even though Peru doesn't even have turkeys. Anyway, these birds, which are now called guinea fowl, are from sub-Saharan Africa. So now, at least more or less, those birds do have roughly the correct name in English. And also, this is true everywhere. So in Turkish and French and Russian and Polish and Hebrew and Armenian and Georgian.
if you don't remember the movie Hot Shots Part 2, there is, or Spy Hard, I don't remember which one it was, but both, you know, really funny, lampoonish kind of style, funny movies. Very much like Airplane. If you remember that movie, in the beginning, there was, I believe it was Saddam Hussein analog. He might have even been Saddam Hussein in the movie. But he's making himself a sandwich, and he puts half the sandwich away, and he goes to his countertop and pulls out the plastic, right, the clear plastic, and lays it out, and then puts his half a sandwich there and delicately wraps it. And then the camera shifts up to see the name on the box. It's a yellow box, and it says Saharan Wrap. Come on. Come on. I'm pausing so that you guys can get the laughing over with. I'm pausing so that the laughing can run its course. I know that you guys are probably like doubled over belly laughing, Cynical's laughing. See, now that is a joke about differing cultures that's not like racist, it's not bigoted, it's not exploitative, it's not like that. That is just a little funny little mention about the region in which they live. Fucking hilarious. Fucking hilarious. You need to watch that movie. I think it was Hot Shots Part 2. And then Spy Hard was its own brand of just delicious comedy.
Yeah, that Georgia and a bunch of other languages, they all have a name that basically means from India. In Greek and Scottish, it's called like a French bird, like a French hen. And in Levantine Arabic, it's called the
like
Ethiopian root.
Is that what that is? Is a French hen a guinea fowl?
Rooster, which is closer if you were talking about guinea fowl, but we're not. We're talking about turkeys. In Albanian, it's called the sea rooster. What does that have to do with this?
What? No. That's insane. The guinea fowl is like my new favorite bird.
I guess it came on boats. There's only one place that calls the turkey by a correct name, and that is in Mexico, where turkeys are from. And there, in Mexican Spanish, the bird is called guajolote, which is from a native Nahuatl name for the bird, named by the people who actually domesticated it. The only name on earth that points to the correct...
In Mexican Spanish, it's pavo. Why is it pavo and not the other... What? In Spanish, it's called pavo. Pavo. Pato is duck. Pavo is turkey. What? Did I learn the wrong form of Spanish? I think I did. I think I learned first the wrong type, Castiliano, and then I learned a mixture of like Mexican and Dominican Spanish with like a little smattering of Cuban. None of my words make sense in contrast to other words. Spanish comes from Spain. The Mexican talked Aztec or Mayan. Well, it's all a form of Spanish now. You're talking about traditionally. I mean, if they're claiming that back, then that would be like a move to like try and reclaim indigenous roots. But typically, it's still Spanish. Castiliano, early days. And then they turned into their own forms of Spanish. The name he mentioned was a pre-colonial name. He meant what? Who? I was talking just about me knowing Mexican Spanish. Oh, well, yeah, I know that. Huitlacoche is one of my favorite corn smuts. One of my favorite types of corn smut. And axolotls and fucking what's that dog's name? There's a dog. I cannot pronounce the name of it, and I've been seeing it over the years. Zolotl. Xoloitzcuintli. That's a breed of dog. One breed. It's just one breed. It's not like a... it's not like an esteemed group of dogs. It's not like an organization of dogs that's like a like really fancy or anything. It's just a breed of dog. Xoloitzcuintli. Yeah, and they're pretty cool looking dogs too. The Mexicans were the Aztecs and the Mayans higher up. You're talking about like the differences in geographical location between ancient civilizations, and I think a lot of those records have kind of been purged. I'm not in order to keep the cultures disparate, but not done by themselves. And the native Indians are a different nation. I mean, I think it's all just kind of broken up of a bunch of different cultures from around the area as time kind of moved on. I don't think there's really any one origin to like different geographical groups today. I think they all share ancestries pretty widely.
Place. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about toponyms, the names that we have for places, and toponyms are crazy. We have all these names for other places that have often nothing at all to do with what the people in those places call that place. Georgia, the country.
That was substantive enough. I think I know enough about why, right? I think, is that an ant? No, it's a fly. Bastards. It really pisses me off. Sorry, the name of this post is "Servers Make Out Quite Well," which we've established is absolutely not the case. The Spaniards banked the Aztecs, and that made the Mexicans. Oh yeah. Well, we all know about the... Well, maybe not all of us, but most of us know about the the South American Trail of Tears. Who was it? Frederick Ferdinand? Who was it? Who was the famous conquistador? Was it Ferdinand? Am I getting the first name right? Francisco. No, I think I've made out with plenty of service. I think I've made out with plenty of service, and they're usually pretty good at it. Servers, they do make out quite well, I guess, conceptually, right? It really pisses me off that they make them. Hang on. I gotta get my voice right. I gotta get into a voice, like a voice actor sort of thing here. Just hang on. Music down so I can get in the right headspace. Okay. Here we go. Hang on. Bear with me here. Okay. I'll take a sip of water here. All right, we're gonna do this podcast style. We're gonna do it syrupy smooth. We're gonna do it like you could fall asleep to my voice. Okay, just hang on. I gotta get my mic in the right position so I can read while I am. Here we go. Okay. All right, I gotta be really close to the mic because you gotta be able to hear the sultry baritone in my voice. All right. It really pisses me off that they make themselves seem as though their pay is below minimum wage, when in actuality they do make a decent salary in a job that's essentially entry level. Was that good so far? Was that in keeping with what I had described? I think that's pretty good. Hang on, we'll keep going, all right? Just tell me if it sounds good, okay? First off, they have to get at least the state minimum wage. That puts them on the same level as retail. But since they get tips, they far surpass all other minimum wage jobs. With tips, it falls on about par with other minimum wage retail jobs, because typically corporate jobs that offer benefits offset the cost of those benefits and sometimes end up paying you higher in addition to also offering benefits, not to mention advancement opportunities. It's way easier to move up in a corporation to get better responsibilities and better pay when that corporation exists and when it's not all just mom and pops with no room for advancement. So no, in addition to them not making a living wage, they're also double fucked by customers like you, but also by unscrupulous owners who just don't want to pay them a full living wage, whereas corporations are forced to do so. If you're I think another thing that people don't really understand about this whole like wage thing is that certain laws don't apply to you, like oversight and protection laws don't apply to you when you're under a certain number of employees. So businesses will go out of their way to try and make it so that they have just one person under the minimum, so they don't have to give benefits, or they'll keep people only to the end of the probationary period so that they don't have to pay them benefits. You get what I'm saying? Like, they'll advertise their job as like, oh, we pay really well, we're competitive, and things like that. But then they'll fire you before the 90 days ends, so they don't have to pay you benefits. They don't, or not pay you, but so they don't have to give you benefits or give you an increase if you negotiated that during your interview, or like a hiring interview or whatever. And in many cases, places still pay under the minimum wage, knowing that it's illegal. Just in general, just straight up, just like, fuck it, I don't care, is the mentality that they have. If I get caught, I get caught. I'll pay the fine, because the fines way undercut, or are way undercut by the amount of money that they save by not paying a living wage. These are people who engineer things to be on razor thin margins, because it shouldn't be like you shouldn't have to pay $30 for a pizza. That's not how much they cost at all, like anywhere near how much they cost. And typical markup for restaurants is supposed to be somewhere between 30 and 150%. I know 150 sounds like a lot, but we're talking really fancy places here. Like between 30 and 150%. 30. You know, if that thing costs $1, he's got to charge $1.30 to make his nut. That's not a lot. 60 is the average. That would be a good margin. I think a decent pizza is like 20 to do at home at least. And that's that's if you're buying all the ingredients and you're going to pay like $20, but you're going to be able to make multiple pizzas from that. You know what I mean? Like you're investing, like you're extending that quite far, you know, instead of like going to a pizza place and paying $20 for a pizza that you can only eat once, maybe have some leftovers, but still, it's real smart to do that shit at home. Fucking, especially like if you have a cast iron pan that's well maintained, then you can do amazing personal pan pizzas really, really easily, like really conveniently. Before I worked at Microsoft, I worked at Wendy's, Texas Steakhouse, Dollar Tree, Target, Hollywood Video, and a college where I ran their AV stuff and set up satellite uplinks with other schools. Two jobs I would never want to do again are Wendy's and Texas Steakhouse. Yeah, it's typically food places have the worst experiences because they're governed by such lax standards of oversight and protections for their employees. That's what I mean. Like when I say that they're corrupt, that's precisely what I mean. Like they're just not following the law, and not even not following the law, but they're not following like just any kind of code of morality. They have no like core principle values that prioritize their relationship with their own staff members. And to me, that's fucking bonkers. I don't understand that. They're the people who you have to solidify loyalty from. They're the people who you have to elicit utter devotion from. And the only surefire way to do that is money. Like, money makes the world go round. You need money to live. You need money to maintain your standard of living. Like if they're not gonna cheer for joy when they get medical benefits, because they should have been getting that this whole fucking time. Having that money to hire that babysitter so that they can work that extra long shift, that breeds loyalty. Fuck, man. Second, there's no tax on tips, which means higher tax burden at the end of the year. Puts even more money into their pockets. Right then, yes. But then they're more like I-9 contractors, where they then have to fund their own fucking business, which they're not supposed to have to do if they work on a goddamn W-2 or W-4. W-4 is for filing, W-2 is for employment. You get what I'm saying? Like that's such an asinine fucking take. Trump eliminating taxes on tips was a bad thing for restaurant workers. It was a bad thing for you fucking anti-tippers too. That allows them to then make this a more libertarian state, which means you're fending for your fucking self. You will have no community safety net. You will have no social service to rely on. You will have nothing to prevent you from like breaking a leg and then having to work fucking through it. So I mean, if fuck, man, the people who cheer this shit on is like, oh God, I have to assume, because I'm one of those people who maybe stupidly believes that people are inherently good. I have to assume that it's some misgiving. I have to assume that it's some like insecure or some kind of like trauma, or it's something that is preventing people from even reaching their minds outside of their heads and trying to reach the people in their own fucking community. Like, it's not that hard. You just have to see how people live. Fuck, man, like spend a day with someone you don't know and you'll find out that maybe like your own perception isn't fucking reliable. People like this, man. Third, I know servers. Cool, I have a black friend. You're doing the fucking I have a black friend thing. God damn. And they told me that they love their job and wouldn't want to work somewhere else since they bring home way more money than even some professionals. I've heard them quote numbers close to and exceeding 100K a year. I mean, that's just a power fantasy for you so that you feel better talking shit about servers. That's certainly not all servers, nor is it representative of even a large majority of servers. Most servers, on average, make below the fucking poverty line in wages. Fuck, man, like any other profession. There are certainly people at the top level, performing at the top level, who make a lot of money, but that's just like any other fucking profession. That's just like any retail position. That's like any construction position. Any corporate position. Anything has a corporate structure that you can then participate in. Like, come on, man. Dumb fuck take. I have a black friend, and he told me that slavery was ultimately good for his people. What? Jesus Christ. Type shit is what you're supposed to say when you're done with your statement nowadays. I know that that's what the younger people do. You're supposed to say type shit after you say something. I'm trying to educate myself on the lingo, right? I know that I'm still a little behind. I'm just looking at this with no context. Read the white label. The restaurant will determine how much you tip. I'm looking at this with zero context to see how I feel about this thing. It doesn't look like something that I disagree with. Did you lecture him about slavery? No. And what did you tell him back? What? I'm sorry. I black out when I say most things, so you're going to have to refresh my memory what I said. Read the white label. The restaurant will decide how much you tip. All right, so I don't think he didn't provide any continued context. I'm just reading the white label. For parties of 6 or more, an automatic gratuity fee will be included in the bill. I must be hungry. 18 to 25% depending on party size. Yeah. You said you had a black friend that said slavery is good. No, that's me talking shit about the person who posted saying that was what their reasoning was like. Because it's typical in the US for racists to justify being racist by saying that they have a black friend. No, it's okay. I have a black friend. He told me this. That's a huge trope in the US. So none of this is bad. For parties of 6 or more, okay, there is a automatic auto-grat, as they call it, that goes anywhere from 18 to 25% depending on what your party size is. The more people you bring, the more effort they have to put into cleaning up, the more effort they have to put into serving you and accommodating the people around you and losing those tables from, people that are going to turn around even quicker. So they are incurring an issue. And I asked if you replied anything. Nope, I didn't. I have a black friend, so all racism I commit is absolved. Yes, that is what these people believe. It's the reasoning that they use to say how servers make 6 digits, which is wrong. I like mixing slang eras. Oh yeah, dude, I do that shit all the fucking time. I sound weird, I think. I sound strange. Like if you were in a group of people and I was standing there talking, so you don't have a black friend. I mean, I have many black friends, but I don't ever use that as an excuse to justify racism. So I guess the answer to your question is yes, but I'm curious as to the intent. On fleek type shit, Daddy-O. Yeah. Like people are starting to call songs bops now. Like I love that. I love that era-less slang. I'm totally into that. If people could start incorporating Daddy-O more, that'd be great. Hey, what's up, cool cats? You slinging some tunes, Daddy-O. I actually like the more like in the 40s when like people would say, "Hey, what's up, Dad? How you doing?" Like just because calling everybody Dad I think would be really fun, and it would diminish the grossness of the word Daddy when people use it. So it'd be like killing 2 birds with 1 stone sort of scenario. Approved in my book. So there's nothing wrong with having a specific tip policy that adjusts depending on the people that are there. I think that this is a really weird thing to be upset about. I mean, you're gonna get charged more for food. Are you upset about that than you would if you were 4 people? You liked the Jim Crow timeline. What on earth are you fucking saying right now, Rawin? I'm walking out. I decide how much to tip, not the restaurant. Well, not for the things that you guys would call service fees. This is the exact kind of tip that they're talking about when they say that they don't like service fees. The actual standard is whatever the customer agrees to. After reviewing this menu, that said, I wouldn't eat at this place. Yeah, because you're probably racist. I mean, this is nothing. This is shrimp lo mein, fine. House lo mein, I assume is probably good. That looks fine. Singapore noodle combination, clear rice noodles stir fried with curry. This person's clearly just racist. They just wanted to like talk shit about being like Asian food. For what reason? For what reason? Okay, do dynamic pricing now? What's dynamic pricing? Is that a thing? I'm guessing a pricing that changes depending on like your like, are you talking about like Korean barbecues type stuff? How many racists are there in the US? Oh god, at least 51% of our voting populace is racist. It's corporate jargon for surge prices. Go fuck yourself. Not you. I mean corporations that do that. Go fuck yourself, corporations. That's not cool. Fuck dynamic pricing. One of the worst things to ever happen to the hustle trade was things like Uber and DoorDash and shit. You need middlemen. Now we need middlemen in our society. Like, now we need them. Luckily, that place has a door so you can walk out after reading that label on the menu. You know, sometimes these people do come up with, like, really, really benign humor. Like, it's not very good, but there are some things where I'm like, that's not entirely unfunny. That's not entirely unfunny. I think that's an okay joke. It's not good, but it's an okay joke. I can kind of, like, get behind that a little bit. See, but it's on par with something like this. It'd be nothing because I do not want to do business there. Yeah. I mean, not especially creative or punchy. I got worst service in places with mandatory tips. I don't even know what that means. More than one and less than 100 million. Well, no. I said like 51% of our voting populace, and about 30% of us voted in the last election. So it'd be about 50% of that. 51% of that. So like, is that 100 million? It'd be like 50 million, right? 47 million, something like that. 47 to 50 million. So there's quite a lot of racists in America. Quite a lot. More than is typically comfortable. The quality of your service entirely subject and not something that can be quantified. True, which is why everyone should just be getting paid a living wage. Bada bing, bada boom. I want to start off with some details that might actually help a little bit. I live in Oregon, so you get a higher end minimum wage in addition to tips. Not in all of Oregon, only in Portland. Definitely not true in places like Hillsboro and Malala. And like, come on, man. Is that in Washington? I think it's in Washington. What percentage of the population were monsters, including angels and demons, in Supernatural before the end? That had to have been a lot. Because all of heaven was shut to, like, most of the angels, right? It had to have been a lot. It had to have been quite a few. Like billions, I'm thinking. Yeah, I was wondering about that earlier today. It would have to be billions. The host would be like billions and billions and billions. Way more than the population of Earth. Because that would be like angels existing like in scads and scads and scads from before like the Earth even existed. Maybe, potentially, wasn't it? He created angels like before humans, I'm pretty sure. What I've become more aware of lately is that my place is in my city Oh, places in my city objectively give you worse service than places where they have to kind of work for it. If you went to one restaurant where you had a bad experience, that's not going to indicate anything about your overall. It should not indicate anything about your overall perception about that industry, about that entire industry. One place is not representative of an entire industry. Even if you went to 100 places and you tried to say like, okay, I've been to all 100 of these places and they were all bad, that's still not representative of the majority of places in terms of restaurants. I mean, that's still not representative of the majority. So like, I mean, it's easy to jump to conclusions, and it's easy to go absolutist with these things, but you really don't have to. You're choosing to do that. Yeah, but the Angels were mostly wiped out by season 13 or so, and that's why they wanted Jack, since they weren't able to reproduce. Did they ever say what their population was when that happened? Like, it could have been like, it went down from 50 billion to 1 billion. You know, like, I don't think I really remember. I might remember them saying like, oh, it's just you, me, and a couple of others. Like, it was the woman that we saw in a previous season, who kind of not turned evil, but like was way more militant than she like kind of let on. And then Cass, and then Metatron, or no, someone killed Metatron in one of the previous seasons. I don't remember. It's been a while. I don't remember if they ever said that. And I'm not talking about you have to go above and beyond. I mean, these people straight up almost seem disinterested and giving me quality services in giving. Compared to places that don't ask for tips, or you have to choose how much you give them, the mandatory tip places actually give the worst in my experience. In your personal experience, but not as a general like assessment of the entire industry. Holy shit. Do people ever see beyond their own fucking noses sometimes? I was at a pizza shop I go there every once in a while, and the pizza is expensive, and they have a mandatory 20%. It's not even for sitting down. If you are, yes, it's 20%. It's just around 20% in general for any, like, just start your thing at 20%, and then it can go down as like you decide to. I don't know. I don't think we should do that. I don't think we should base it on little fucking like things that can be subject to bias and racism and sexism. I don't think that we should be doing things like that. They should all just be getting a goddamn living wage. And until then, we should just be tipping 10 to 20%. There's no like fucking nuance to that. It's very, very simple. I'm wondering if this has been the case with other people. Do you notice mandatory tipping places don't give as good service as places where you have to work for it or is not required at all? Of course, people are going to jerk this guy's dick and tell him that that's the way the industry is now. It's all broken, you know. All servers are just entitled, man. All servers are entitled. Don't mean you should just leave nothing as a tip, man. I don't think so, but I do remember one episode where the guy was selling body parts on the internet to monsters. Said there were more than 100,000 low-key monsters in the U.S. But does that include angels? Anywho, I just realized that it's almost 3, which is way over the time that I was supposed to be streaming today, but it's fine. So we're gonna leave it here. Tomorrow, we're gonna talk about how to cast magic spells with your brain. We're gonna talk about how God damn it, Cynical, stop! You're distracting me. Tomorrow, we're gonna talk about how you can cast magic spells and even earn $1 billion with your brain. Just low-key monsters weren't even actively attacking people and were just working jobs and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I'm writing a story right now that's very similar to that kind of idea, and I love the concept of that. So if there's more than 100k of them, there has to be tons of monsters and stuff total. Yeah. As a wide swath of like just extrapolating population numbers just from that small set of data, I think it's safe to assume that there's, you know, a wide collection of just in general otherworldly beings. So yeah, that's fair. I agree with that. But anyway, tomorrow we will be talking about how to cast spells, raw ones ready, to get $1 billion. And I think there's even like a guarantee. One of them says like it's guaranteed. breathing techniques. We've got breathing techniques to release DMT from your natural system. Hypnotizing you through your screen to become a billionaire. We'll definitely be watching that tomorrow. So yeah, you've got some interesting stuff to look forward to. Fireball, maybe, if that's in the cards. I think the takeaway overall from casting spells with your mind is that you can do pretty much anything. Do what thou wilt. You know, everything is permitted, nothing's forbidden. You know, that's how we're gonna do it. Sounds like manifesting? That's right. That is right. You've hit the nail on the head. We're gonna be talking about hermetic practices as educating us by way of AI. So we're gonna let in AI for the most part. I think most of these channels we're gonna look at tomorrow are AI slop. But there's a pretty well-known phenomena where when AI starts to hallucinate, people start seeing like religious messages in it, and it's kind of, there's like a lot of overt things that you can do to make that happen. But it's not anything new or emergent consciousness or anything like that. It's just artifacts and hallucinations. But people are very willing to see that as the new Hermetic Dawn. So we're going to take a look at that tomorrow, and we're going to maybe try and cast some spells. I know we're going to have fun. That's the very least of it. But maybe we'll manifest $1 billion. He's claiming he's going to hypnotize us to manifest $1 billion. So, I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens. And if you want to watch that, then fucking, like, you know, hit the like button and subscribe. Subscribing is like a big thing. Nobody fucking subscribes to channels anymore. I've even seen people on big channels releasing videos talking about people not hitting the sub button. Like, I don't know what the aversion is. Just hit the fucking sub button. Like, it takes a single click, and I need to get up to 500 in order to get monetized. So I'm hammering it in there. I'm doing my part, saying please sub and all that shit. At least I'm leaving it to the end of the stream. Thank you guys very much for showing up and being here today. And we got 6 viewers across all platforms, which is pretty good. That's pretty darn good. I would say we performed pretty well. If only they mashed these metrics together and I got all the watch time for that on one platform, that'd be great. But you know, you do what you can, right? You take care too, Cynical. See you later. See you later, Skippy. The billion will not manifest. How fucking dare you? How do you know? Maybe it will. Start willing it to